Hello and welcome to the U Waterloo Esports Duo Duels. I'm Divine Muffin co-hosting alongside Puffball, and today we will be witnessing some of the top tier 2v2 Howling Abyss gameplay at the University of Waterloo.
Yeah, in Duo Duels, we are commemorating, of course, Valentine's Day. So everyone's here with hopefully their Valentine or their homie. No judgment. I just hope everyone has a good Valentine's Day. So, how are things looking today?
Really exciting. I think we have a lot of strong partners up. As you said, some of them may be Valentine partners, some of them just with their homies along for the ride, but they will be competing for a total prize pool of $200. So a lot of money up for grabs here.
That is at least 3 foot longs, 3 foot long combos at Subway. So,
Absolutely, at least.
so not that's definitely not something to sneeze at. If I could, I would just jump in there and take the money and run. But unfortunately, I'm just a caster.
Yeah,
So.
unfortunately we can't compete, but obviously we would win if we did. But no, for sure, this is a lot of money to be competing for some struggling college students possibly. But yeah, I think the games have already been underway for a while now. The next game coming up, I believe, would be the winners semifinals. So this is a double elimination bracket. As we mentioned, it's 2v2 Howling Abyss. Both teams get three bans each prior to champion select. And yeah, soon we'll be jumping right into the next game.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because it's a 2v2 game, so it's not your typical, Summoner's Rift 5v5, duke it out in all lanes. It's a 2v2 in one lane. And I'm kind of interested in what what picks teams have been pulling out, in that 2v2. Are we seeing like bot lane combos, or are we seeing more like cheese ADC combos? Oh, but we see that we are getting into champion select here. On the left side, we have Tom Kench and Caitlyn and Nunu and Lee Sin. Definitely a spicier hover on the right, sir. What do you think?
I would definitely agree. The left side is looking like a more typical bot lane team comp. Tom Kench support, not the most popular these days, but it is still an ADC and a support piloted by JX Jimmy and Zero Marshmallow Zero. On the red side, like they said, they are hovering off the Nunu now onto Pantheon, along with the Lee Sin, a very disgusting all-in team comp. Back to the Nunu. We're not sure what these teams locked, or banned, excuse me. We'll see what they lock in here in a second.
Right, but Tom Kench, apart from being a support, he is an absolute monster in the 1v1 as well. He's very good at skirmishing with his gray health and his disgusting amounts of CC and, damage potential. So
For sure.
Hail of Blades, Tom Kench, nothing to sneeze at. If you've ever been slapped around by the tongue, you know how much that can hurt.
Yeah, as a top laner, I definitely do know the power of Tom Kench 1v1. Nunu is locked in for the red team. The other three still hovering here, but it looks like there might not be any changes that they've been hovering these for the duration.
I wonder if there's something they've been preparing because Nunu, it's a one lane. If there's a boulder coming down one that, let's see if they're going for the bowling alley strategy.
Absolutely, it's definitely hard to dodge that big snowball in a single lane, and it will be Tom Kench Kaylin locked in against the Nunu and Lee Sin.
Yeah, and we're hopping into game now, so we do like you said, we have a traditional bot lane combo versus something like Lee Sin Nunu, something that kind of I think would be like considered cheese maybe. I'm not sure in the 2v2 meta, but if the bowling ball comes down, and the Lee Sin's kind of ball, so another bowling ball comes down with it. I don't know if Caitlyn will be able to sustain that.
Yeah,
Tom
for
Kench
sure.
Doesn't have E until 6 anymore.
Yeah, Caitlin's gonna have to be careful for that hard engage. She is the only ranged champion out of these four, so she will be the one with the ranged advantage. So she'll try to poke them down, try to get some chunk damage before they do get all in. Before Tom Kench hits that 6 and gets that safety get out of free jail card.
Yeah, I mean, if you were in the tournament, do you have any pocket picks, for the 2v2 that you would be pulling out, or?
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the champ pool. Personally, I am more of a champion puddle kind of player, so it would have to be a comfort pick, maybe not the best for a 2v2 comp. Yeah, like we said, these will be some interesting strategies that we see today, hopefully. A lot of them maybe not your traditional balling 2v2s, as we are seeing with Lee Sin and Nunu.
Right, and I think the key here also will be, what's the good balance, right? Some teams are going to have really good cheese in the 1v1, I mean, the 2v2, they're going to be killed enemy a bunch, but, are they going to be able to convert that into a W? We don't know, so.
Yeah, for sure. And to talk on that topic of what is the win condition here, so it will be 2 kills for one team in any fashion on any 2 players. The first turret taken down or 100 CS combined. So one player could have 30 CS, one player could have 70. That will be a win for that team.
Right. So if the team goes for the kill cheese strat, but the other team managed to back out, farm up, it's definitely interesting to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I think there is also interesting to say that as a 2v2 with 2 kills possible, one player going down early and the other one staying alive could actually be beneficial, as that player will be able to buy items, come back, and possibly force a 2-for-0 on the next play, as they will be stronger. This is Howling Abyss after all.
Yeah.
There will be no backing allowed and no buying items unless you do die.
So we may see a tactical death.
A tactical death, for
tactical
sure.
Death, you know.
Could be part of the strategy. We don't know what these players are cooking up. 1 minute for the spectator delay, and we will be jumping into this game.
Now we're going to be a little bit, I'm going to be a little bit cautious and say that, Lee Sin and Nunu, it's a super interesting combo. I think if they manage to take down, Caitlyn, I think it's all. But the thing is, Nunu and Lee Sin, they're also very straightforward kind of characters. Their movement is just one directional. It's not like they, teleport onto anywhere. Like jump onto Caitlyn. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if there's a big old frog, in front of Caitlyn. Are they gonna be able to break through?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's good you mentioned the one-dimensional, especially for Lee Sin here on Howling Abyss. He will not have the advantage of having wards to jump to. Normally he would be able to dash around a bit more, except he will have to instead use Nunu or a minion if possible to jump to instead for his safeguard W.
Yeah, and I know that Lee Sin and Nunu, they are definitely, they don't have range. Right?
Yeah.
Like the only thing they got going for them is the Ha, like the Lee Sin Ha, right? So
The resonating strike,
Right,
Sonic Wave into resonating strike. And we will be jumping into game here. Spectator delay is about to be up, and in just a second we will hopefully have that game live.
And hopefully it doesn't end in 30 seconds or something. But we are now loading in. We have Max and Evan versus tag team name.
It appears the blue team may have not picked a team name, but they are against the Dudu and Lee Sin, who are Max and Evan. Looking at the buys here, everyone finding a Guardian item. Very strong, very powerful item on top of this.
Right.
Taking the Hextech portal to turn.
Right, and especially if you're not looking for the scaling. Oh, and the mark goes down onto Lee Sin. I wonder if he's going to follow up. The Nunu snowball is coming down onto
Caitlyn's caught already.
And Lee Sin's going forward and also but he's stopped by the Tom Kench. Caitlyn is fighting back. Tom Kench is going in for the re-engage. The trap lands onto Nunu and the Ignite is used as well. Tom Kench absolutely win. Stuns up Nunu. Nunu's about to flash back. Lee Sin flashing back as well, and looks like a very, very favorable outcome for the side of Tom Kench and Caitlyn.
Absolutely. We almost had an end right there. Both the red team players having to flash out, both the blue team players saving their flash and only burning an ignite. Neither of them having mark, on the other hand, while red team's marks will be coming up soon. Nunu's mark is already up. But they are already on the back foot here. They chug their potions and nurse their wounds. Hopefully going to try to find a way back, maybe with some Q poke out of Lee Sin. But as mentioned, they are on the back foot here with less HP and less range.
Caitlyn has barrier and flash. Tom Kench has flash. It's I think very, very grim for Max and Evan right off the bat here. They have to find a way around all of the Caitlyn range. You're talking about a Caitlyn here, it's not a Samira. It's not a Twitch. It's someone who's going to stand 10 miles away from you and shoot you. So we're going to have to see what we can do on the side of Max and Evan.
Yeah, if I were Max and Evan right now, I'd maybe wait for 6, hopefully just get some of that natural regen from leveling up, and hopefully go for a level 6 all-in. Tom Kench will have the 6 as well, though they are getting pushed in, so blue team should hit level 6 first, and emote out of Nunu as he sits under turret, grabbing the relic.
If I'm red team right now, if I'm Max and Evan, I'm crossing my fingers that Caitlyn, Caitlyn has a little bit of a shakes, can't get as much CS,
Yeah, maybe their mouse disconnects or something along the lines.
Yeah, the internet connection, McDonald's Wi-Fi cuts out, something along those lines.
Unfortunately for them, they are all sharing the same Wi-Fi here in the black and gold room at SLC, so one disconnect may result in many.
You see that now the wave is under the turret, and wave under turret is actually one of Caitlyn's comfort zones. They can just set up the traps all around the turret, to kind of bully them out. And Tom Kench is there for the disengage if Caitlyn is jumped on as well. Very tough situation overall for Max and Evan. Let's see if they can turn it around though. They are getting some CS. It's nothing to sneeze at. They've got 3 and 4 respectively on the side of Max and Evan, but Caitlyn is burning the turret down.
Yeah, we might actually see a turret victory here. This is Howling Abyss. There are no turret plates, so these turrets are pretty squishy.
But Max and Evan, they have natural sustain and built into their kits. Nunu obviously with the Q, and Lee Sin with the second cast of his W have the natural advantage. 6 is gotten by both sides except for Nunu actually. So Nunu should probably hit 6 off that minion, and this is going to be a very interesting engagement because Caitlyn ult is actually not that useful unless she gets far away.
Yeah, for sure.
So we could see a fight turn based on ult.
Yeah, the red team actually now almost back to full HP. Caitlyn letting that happen and not poking them down, taking advantage of their early chunk.
Yeah, and tallying with this, they have the little health beacons as well. Blue team picking that up to kind of deny the red team their max 7 there. Oh, Leeson lands a resonating strike. He's not going to insect, but Nunu is rolling the snowball in. Caitlyn and the Tom Kench have detected, that, they see that from a mile away and back up, accordingly.
Yeah, it looked like Lisa was considering going for an insect there, but like you said, the Q was onto the Tom Kench and dodge, but Caitlyn is much more difficult. She still has the flash and the net up. Marks in.
Yeah, oh, and Tom Kench W's forward, and Leeson jumps back in as well. The Nunu lands a snowball onto the Caitlyn, channeling ultimate. Flashes are blown on both sides. Leeson looks like he's going to the insect, lands, but...
Can Nunu trade the kill onto Tom Kench?
Oh, Nunu, no. It's Nunu. He does not have the range.
Does not have the range, does not have the damage. He's not willing to commit flash there. His abilities were probably down.
And this is what we were talking about, right? The Tom Kench is a character with gray health, a lot of potential for turning the fight around. Nunu drives the snowball right into the Caitlyn, but he's not. Oh, and he's eaten by the Tom Kench. It looks like he's just spread out. Oh, and this was the combo they were going for. The trap, however, is not stepped on. Tom Kench W's forward. It looks like they are trying to end the game right here, but Leeson makes his way back. Oh, Mark Tom Kench jumps in. He does not have the ultimate up. Will he be able to kill him down? The gray health comes out.
Is Nunu snowballing, and he's looking for the kill on the Tom Kench.
Oh,
Tom Kench will saunter out, but he will pick the Caitlyn. Leeson goes in for it, finishes the kill on the Caitlyn, hits the Q on the
Oh my god, Leeson!
Leeson actually turning the kill. And red team, Max and Emma are going to make having that tactical death advantage.
Yeah, I think it's pretty unfortunate for the side of tag team name Jimmy and Marshmallow as well. They were going in for the kill, like Leeson was, Nunu was almost dead. Tom Kench W's forward, about to finish him off, but his teammate comes in, saves the day, and the fight is instantly turned.
Yeah, I really thought they had that one there. It looked like Nunu was going to go down, but just barely manages to live and turn it around.
Yeah, definitely, way more of a close brawl. After that first minute or so, we were like, oh, this doesn't look too good for the Leeson side, but
Yeah, absolutely.
Something we talked about came into fruition. Leeson came back with serrated Dirk, as you said. Kicked the poop out of Tom Kench. Yeah.
So what do you think about this Nunu Leeson combo? We might see it again now that the Max and Evan team will be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, the Nunu Leeson combo definitely something that if you're not on your guard for, something that can definitely at least chunk you for a significant amount of health, because the CC combo on these characters is pretty significant. So Nunu can land a CC, and Leeson with his RQ combo can definitely melt down a squishy really fast. So definitely a formidable combo. As we can see, the weakness is range. But if Caitlyn is not very mobile, so if Nunu can land a good snowball, looks pretty viable for the Leeson Nunu side.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping to see that combo again. Maybe we'll see some more combos in action that we were not aware of. Yeah, did you notice where the Dragon's Rage actually came out in that fight? Leeson's R. I don't think I noticed it.
I think Dragon's Rage was actually used earlier in the first skirmish as everything was going down in that bush.
Mm-hmm.
I think just for damage, not for an insect or anything, but I think that was what brought the Tom Kench really close to dying, and I guess it worked out for them in the end. So.
Yeah, for sure. I was hoping to see some flashier plays with the flash insect, not with the warthog, obviously, but yeah, I was thinking some spicy maybe flash kick back into the Nunu ult that was flashed out of earlier on, but yeah, it is a combo that we will hopefully see some more of as we get into the next game soon enough.
Oh, and one thing I noticed is that I think in the middle, Caitlyn Tom Kench was going for the Tom Kench E onto the Caitlyn trap combo, but that actually didn't work out. And I think if that had landed, we could have seen a very different outcome for this game.
For sure, Nunu able to flash out there. Not sure if it was a miscommunication on the part of where the E was going to land or where the trap was placed, but I definitely, as you said, that is what they were going for, and unfortunately for them, did not quite work out.
Yeah, unfortunate for the combo, but it was definitely formidable, and this is double elimination, right? So
it is. So I believe that was a winners bracket game, so we will see tag team name 0 on the Caitlyn and Tom Kench team. Coming back, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to their forward performance as well, and looks like we are going to get into the other game pretty soon. I'm excited for what the other people have in store.
For sure, and I think we could take a look at some of the other matches that have gone down. One of the combos that we saw was actually, I believe, Xayah and Leona, a very basic bot lane combo with an ADC and support. So that is something more typical as we've seen already with the Tom Kench and Caitlyn of a support and an ADC. However, something more untraditional, I suppose, would be something like Renekton and Orianna, which was also pulled out earlier. What do you think of that combo?
Renekton Orianna, it's definitely interesting. Renekton is known for his absolutely crazy, 1v1 with like 2v2 potential, and Orianna is a character that really benefits from having someone to put the ball on. And I think maybe if they were going for the dominant shockwave combo, Renekton ease forward and flashes and just wipes them out in 1Q. And I don't know if it's like very viable if there's a lot of like disengage on the enemy team, but definitely a combo that if you're not on guard for, you can get Renekton W'd and cut up into pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of damage, burst damage that can come down at an instant, and certainly a combo that I'm hoping to see in a future game. We're taking a moment here as we sort out some technical difficulties to get into the next game here for you guys, but yeah, hopefully. Oh, and we're back in a champs. Like, it will be this. I believe this is actually the second game between Jimmy Marshmallow and against Max and Evan. These are best of 3, so I believe that was only the first game. So there is a chance here for Jimmy and Marshmallow to still take the series.
Yeah, and Max and Evan, strong. Both teams actually had strong showings in the first game. So let's see if I think the interesting dynamic though here is if Jimmy and Marshmallow go back, run it back for the same strategy. Are they gonna say, like this didn't work, but we can definitely make it work if we just work out a kinks, or are they going for something completely different?
Yeah, for sure. Looks like here both Caitlyn and Nunu will be hovered once again. We are not sure what the bans were, but it is reason to believe that these two were not banned by either side. It's possible that knowing that who the other two players are, that they did an OPGG check to ban one tricks instead. The Lee Sin and Nunu once again both hovered, so it looks like neither of those two would be banned. We might have the same combo coming out. Shaco is a new pick though.
Yeah, Shaco. What does Shaco bring to the 2v2? I guess he brings his boxes. He has the stealth, but I'm not sure how much the stealth is going to matter in a one lane kind of game. The stealth, very, very tricky to face on Summoner's Rift, obviously, because he could avoid vision and like get really creative ganks. But on Howling Abyss, I'm kind of wondering, what kind of strat does Jimmy have to justify that Shaco lock-in, actually? So.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like, Shaco, Caitlyn locked in. Nunu and Lee Sin will also be locked in. Definitely an interesting Shaco pick, as you said. It can be played both AD with auto attacks or AP with his boxes. Both strategies seem a bit strange on a 2v2 ARAM match, though.
Yeah, if I were to make a guess, I am going to guess this is AP Shaco. He's going to put down boxes, kind of to disengage from Nunu and Lee Sin, I guess. Like, if Nunu's rolling down the snowball, he's going to hit a box and get feared and roll the other way or something. It's kind of what I'm guessing, but we'll definitely have to see what kind of outcome this is going to bring.
Yeah, that's a great point. It might be a specific Nunu counter. That is something that will remain to be seen. Also worth mentioning that Caitlyn traps also do interrupt the Nunu snowball. That is not something we saw in the first game. Picking the Caitlyn again, maybe they'll be aware of it this time. But without a support with the Shaco instead, Caitlyn might be even more vulnerable than we saw in the first game.
Yeah, so I guess this could be kind of seen as a landmine kind of strategy. The Caitlyn traps, the Shaco boxes, they stockpile a bunch of like stuff in front of them and say, if you want to fight us, you have to come to us. And I think this game will be decided on whether they can come to them, or will they step on 2 million boxes and mines and traps and just, fall before.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I like that strategy a lot. As we saw in the first game, the Caitlyn Tahm Kench team almost did take down the turret. They also had a CS lead. So maybe playing this landmine strategy, they can be a lot safer and play again for killing the first turret or getting 100 CS before they can be all in and killed.
Yeah, and Caitlyn and Shaco definitely the win condition is to, like you said, the burn down the turret or get more CS. Definitely viable win conditions, especially if you have so much disengage. Tahm Kench being gone kind of brings a little bit less survivability overall. They're very both squishy characters, and Lee Sin is a very one-shotty character, so we'll definitely have to watch out for that. But like we said, it definitely matters are they stepping on the traps?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Caitlyn traps obviously can be seen unless they're in a bush. Shaco traps are invisible. However, I do believe the cannon minions on every third wave will reveal the Shaco trap, so that's also something they need to keep in mind and possibly play around.
Right, and they could probably put set up little zones they can run to maybe. That the cannon maybe won't come to, and you got to remember that they do have the range advantage, so hopefully they can kill the cannon minion before it gets too far. Maybe that's kind of what they're thinking, but definitely interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Like we saw last game, the red team was shoved in for the majority before the fights went down, so maybe we'll see that same strategy coming again. Like you said, killing the cannon minions before they can reveal said traps and backing up whenever needed.
Yeah, and I think Evan and Max and Evan got really nothing to fear. They're in their comfort zone. They won the last game, and they're now, they're saying, if you want to beat us, you have to show something new, right? They're saying, Nunu and Lee Sin, we got this. We know this works. We're gonna we're gonna shove a big ball into your head and explode you. So, this is the adaptation by Shaco and Caitlyn. Maybe.
Yep. Like you said, it's Max and Evan's game to lose. Even if they lose this game, there will be a game 3 to decide the series. So we're gonna have to see which team is gonna, whether Max and Evan will sweep it 2-0, or if the blue team can come back and win the second game to push it to the third.
Yeah, and usually teams that win are at advantage because they are not showing their strategy. Like they don't have to show their strategy until they're pushed to show their strategy. So, if Max and Evan end up losing this game, I'm sure we might see a different pick, different composition come out from them.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about showing strategies, we don't know if the Shaco pick was because Tom Kench was banned or because they believed that the Tom Kench pick was not working. In either case, this will be a slightly different game. And we will be jumping right in. In just a moment here. Buys looking very similar to last game. Guardian items on all 4 players so far as they fill out the rest of their gold with potions.
Yeah, and Shaco buying that amplifying tome. He's actually doing a little. Oh, he bought the ruby crystal instead. He's doing a little bit of shopping. Or the sapphire crystal.
Taking some time to decide what he wants. This is an AP Shaco. He did take Comet, and he is building that Guardian's Orb. Lee Sin also sitting AFK in base as he now takes the Hextech portal out to the lane.
Right, and looks like the setup is going down. Like we talked about the Shaco boxes, the Caitlyn traps. It is a little bit odd because if the enemy team walks into the box, I think they walk away from the Caitlyn trap.
That is a good point. We will see a bit of anti-synergy there as the Shaco trap is right on top of the Caitlyn trap. Not a very early fighting now like we had last game. Max and Evan also on the red side again. The snowball will be blocked by the Shaco trap that he procced right before. This Nunu snowball will not hit either.
And that kind of looks like some might say that looks like a failed strategy, but they've actually managed to clear out all the setup in the bush relatively cheaply. It was just a snowball and a little bit of summoners on the mark. So, if I'm Max and Evan, I'm saying, I'll take that.
Yeah, not too much HP loss. This game is already going better for them than it did last game when they got chunked out very early on.
And, I think I can see kind of the merit of the Shaco box. It blocks the mark. Oh, Nunu drives the snowball right through both of the boxes and lands a huge hit on Caitlyn. No follow-up is going to come down, but nice driving.
Not sure if you knew where those boxes were, but sneaking right in between them, getting some good damage down. Lee Sin not committing on the mark as he hits a Sonic Wave onto the Shaco.
Well, this man has clearly taken the G license test.
Absolutely, this Nunu is an experienced driver for certain. Also, we saw there that Nunu consumed one of the Shaco boxes. Actually, a very efficient way to clear them once they are spotted out.
The cannon goes down and both of the Shaco boxes are revealed. So, like we mentioned, it's very important for Marshmallow and Jimmy to clear it. The Nunu snowball coming down, Caitlyn E sideways to the sidestep thing. Lee Sin dashes forward, lands the Q. Jimmy has the stealth away. And a very favorable trade for the side of Max and Evan.
Yeah, it looks like the blue team was on the back foot that entire time. Almost no damage being traded back. Nunu consuming to heal, and Lee Sin not taking much damage at all, as it seemed like
Nunu's gonna keep doing it.
And Nunu's rolling it in again.
Oh, and the Shaco box is actually procced by the minions in a 2-man knockup. Lee Sin dives in under the turret. The turret drops are going down. An amazing engage by the Nunu chunks out the enemy team significantly. The follow-up not as good, but definitely a huge W for the side of Max and Evan.
Yeah, Jimmy and Philo both forced to flash there, but definitely the HP advantage.
He's coming again.
Here comes the snowball again. He lets it go this time, and it will not hit either blue team as they manage to scamper away. But the Q2 from Lee Sin goes in on the Caitlyn.
Oh, and the mark lands on Shaco, Jimmy, Max, or Evan. I don't know which one is which, but...
And Nunu not willing to go in. A flash out by Caitlyn, not wanting to get rooted by the Nunu W.
And, Nunu kind of saying, if I can't roll the snowball through the boxes with myself in, I'm just going to roll the snowball at you, so...
Yeah, certainly. And for once in this series, it looks like the red team is in. Hits the Q2 on Shaco, but Shaco will deceive out.
Yeah, I do see the merit of the Shaco boxes. It blocks the snowball, both snowballs, I guess. and Nunu actually rolling the snowball under the turret as well, looking for, a little more bowling opportunities. You got Lilia and Nunu, the bowling experts of League of Legends as always.
And bowling experts would put it nicely here as the blue team managed to get the relic, so they are healing up a little bit. But once again, they have no innate sustain compared to the Nunu and the Lee Sin. We see their Nunu just consumed for 270 HP, and he's almost back to full again.
And an interesting thing is while Max and Evan actually got a lot of good early trades, under the turret, it's hard for them to pressure with just Nunu and Lee Sin. It looks like the Nunu snowball is coming around again. Do you expect it? No engage there. The snowball is used to clear the way. Oh, Leeson jumps in with a Q, but Jacob Box clears them away. Leeson jumps in for the Dragon's Rage. Ult is being channeled.
Jimmy almost going down. It's not enough. Nunu is forced to flash out. Caitlyn also living there. The Dragon's Rage not enough to finish her off. As you said, Nunu healing back almost a full HP. Very close fight once again, but neither players from either team going down.
And obviously, you know, like you look at the team comps and you say that Nunu is such a, like, if Nunu gets ult off, it's GG for the side of Caitlyn and Shaco. But Shaco actually, the movement ability allows him to escape really bad situations. You know, Shaco, very slippery character, puts the box down, stealth backwards. A little hard for Max and Evan to land the finishing blow. They're consistently winning these trades, but you know, can they get the finishing blow onto the
Yeah, exactly. But like it's right, Max and Evan full HP right now, looking for the finishing blow. The snowball lands onto Caitlyn. Are they going to go for the 2-turret dive? It looks like no, but they will steal the relic. However, blue team will still get the heal from it.
Leeson, absolute Giga Chad, walking into the enemy base to pick up the relic and leaving, refusing to elaborate.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for the blue team. How do you think they can make a comeback here? It looks like they're just out-sustained and out-damaged for the rest of the game.
I think we can see that Caitlyn actually has 32 CS, 33 CS. So, you know, if they can somehow evade the big snowball that is actually coming right now.
Q2 lands, it's in. Caitlyn eats backwards. Shaco will Q out and avoid the snowball. Neither player going down again. Like I said, slash in by Leeson, but he's going to get canceled by a Shaco box. Nuna finishes off Caitlyn. Goes in for the dive on Leeson.
2 kills.
That will be 2 kills from Max and Evan. It looks like we have a 2-0 series, finishing it off with a dive.
And you know, like this could be results oriented, but it looks like Shaco maybe was not the play. You know, I think, you know, theoretically there's a lot of good things Shaco can bring with the boxes. You know, they can interrupt the Nunu, the Lee Sin, but this is one lane. There's only so many spots the boxes could be in, and at the end of the day, if Lee Sin and Nunu are just cramming their faces into the enemy, maybe that landmine strategy, they can step on a few landmines, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Like we saw at the end, the Shaco box actually did deter the engage for a second, but it was not enough. It really doesn't. I think it just delays the engage rather than deters it completely.
Right.
It's not. It doesn't trade back much damage, and in the end, they just don't have the HP advantage to fight back.
Right. I'm thinking maybe their strategy was to go for the farm win condition because Caitlyn and Shaco, I believe, had a farm advantage right before that final fight. But you know, obviously, truck driver Nunu, sending people to the other world.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting thrown into. And yeah, it looks like we won't have any games for a bit as the teams are wrapping up and the brackets are moved on. So I think we will be throwing into a break briefly in order to wait till the next game starts.
Yeah, I will see everyone after the break, and you know, if you guys are home watching, have a good Saturday.
Thank you all for tuning in.
And welcome back to Duo Duels, your favorite U Waterloo Valentine's Day duo tournament. I'm your host again, Puffball, and we have Divine working with me. Luckily, no one has been replaced in that 15-minute break, so we're back.
Yeah, fortunately not. And welcome back, everyone. We will be jumping into the game shortly. It will be the winners brackets final between Max and Evan and Team Double Dingus.
Yeah, Double Dingus, new faces. We see Max and Evan last time. They obviously dominated, but I'm excited to see what Double Dingus can pull out. Kind of a new breath of fresh air. We see the Nunus and the Caitlins and the Lee Sins, but let's see what Double Dingus has got for us.
Yeah, for sure. And I think looking at the match history, I do believe Double Dingus is the Renekton Oriana team. So we'll see if they hover the same things. No, Team Double Dingus on the blue team, hovering Varus and Shaco again right now. And on the right side, we have Max and Evan, who had their Lee Sin and Nunu banned. So they will also be pulling out a new strategy.
Kiana, Akali, both extremely, dare I say, cringe champions to play against sometimes. They have the Kiana Bush Stealth and the Akali W. They're not going to be able to see them unless they have like True Sight with a cannon, but we'll definitely see what they can pull out.
Yeah, it's definitely a little of a slippery combo to Assassins. They have not locked in just yet. On the blue side, we are seeing Team Double Dingus lock in the Shaco. I'm not sure if Shaco is some hidden dark tech. This is our second time seeing it from a different team, and also paired alongside an ADC once again. But
yeah, there seems to be a lot of priority on the Shaco. I don't know if it's just a coincidence that these players favor it, but Shaco does seem to have a lot of priority. Maybe it's because of the the mark is such a huge engage in ARAM that Shaco boxes can just block that. I wonder why we're not seeing things like Heimerdinger or something like that kind of dominates lane and like kind of stops engages, but I think Shaco kind of maybe fills that role.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Varus?
Yeah, Varus I think is a very standard ADC. He is very strong right now and has been for the past few patches. Maybe not the most lane dominant champion, but definitely could be pretty oppressive if you build lethality and poke with the Qs. It will be Varus Shaco against the Kiana and Akali as we wait for the spectator delay here. So what do you think about this matchup?
Right, so I think it's up to the Shaco, I guess, at the beginning, because Varus, before he has 6, he has no form of CC, and it's against two very mobile assassins. Akali does not have that much mobility before 6 either, but Kiana definitely can be very lethal. She can just E forward into a minion, like throw Q and W, like Q reset Q, and chunk out the Varus. So I think it's actually up to the Shaco to protect the Varus, stop the engages before the 6 comes down. And even after 6, Kiana and Akali are very, very lethal if they can get into range with their ultimate. It's about how Varus can kind of back off, use his ultimate properly and kind of get the range dominance in. But, for me, I think definitely Varus and Shaco have to be the smarter players maybe in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Varus, as you said, is ranged, but one of the shorter ranges, so he will still have to be careful against these dash assassins. Max and Evan seem like they have a very solid strategy, or very standard strategy of just an all-in team comp, 2 melee champions always going for the kill, and it doesn't seem like they're a very farm-oriented team.
Yeah, I mean, Akali and Kiana. I mean, Kiana's okay to farm on. If you ever try to farm on Akali, you would know how much suffering that can be, so... definitely interesting to see what happens, and I think, the Shaco actually is kind of something that I didn't really like think about before. But the Q is really good into assassins as well. You can set up all the boxes and play kind of up, and if they try to get the jump on him, you can just say, bye bye. I'm leaving now. So.
Yeah, absolutely able to counter these two assassins with their stealth, with his own dash and his own stealth. So definitely a slippery champion, definitely hard for the two of them to all in on and kill. Like we said, the Varus is the one that's going to have to play smart, play positionally, hopefully play around his teammates' boxes, and stay alive however he can.
Yeah, I'm guessing this is going to be just AD Varus with Comet. Is like poke Varus is kind of my guess. But maybe he takes, who knows, maybe he takes tempo, Hail of Blades and try to just like burn down the assassin combo in like the 2v2 all-in. But, obviously Varus, not the longest range AD carry when with just auto-attacking, so like if Varus is in range to auto you, Kiana's in range to EU, Akali's in range to all you, so...
Yeah, for sure, so definitely am expecting it to be a lethality Varus as we get into game in just a minute. We'll have to see whether that is the case. AP Varus is also a possibility, but not very common. It's definitely more strong for killing large tank or beefy champions with the % max health. So I do expect it to be a lethality Varus, as you said.
Right, and I think one thing is, if Varus misses ult, that's going to be really, really tough for the side of, In Your Blood Darkcaster. Double Dinguses, he's gonna look like a real dingus if he misses his ult.
Yeah, for sure. But they have to also hit level 6 first before that can happen. Max and Evan, we've seen, do have the killer instinct early on, so they may just try to end it before we get to 6. We'll have to see if Kiana and Akali do have that kill pressure early on.
Right. One thing I'm kind of interested in seeing is if Akali eased into Shaco, and Shaco Qs backwards and flashes into the turret. Something like that we could see.
That would be pretty funny to see. Akali's Shroud no longer giving, no longer obscuring vision under the turret, so she would be vulnerable to die there. Her R1 also needing to, I believe, target a champion in order to dash out.
Right. Thank God for all the non-Akali players, but as an Akali player, can you give me back one of them at least, please? Like, it's pretty fun playing it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's unfortunate, but I do still think she's a very strong champion. And we are in game now. We can see that Varus does have the Comet and the heal. Shaco opting for a no flash build and also has Comet with Exhaust and Ignite, probably an AP Shaco once the items come up. And once again, Max and Evan opting for double Mark and Snowball, which is common with what we've seen in their previous matches.
Right, Shaco in the jungle in Summoner's Rift as well, known as a champion that does not take Flash because the Q makes him so mobile and slippery, and the clone as well. Nice poke onto Kiana to start things off. But as I was saying, Shaco actually does not take a Flash in Summoner's Rift. I believe he just takes Ignite. So Exhaust and Ignite could be a smart summoner combo for such a precarious 2v2.
Yep, definitely stronger for the all-ins and the skirmishes. We saw that Max and Evan already missed both marks. They're on the back foot, trying to E2 in on Akali, but getting interrupted by the box. That is the counter that we were discussing.
Yeah, so if Akali lands her mark on you, you can just walk into a box, kind of stop her in her tracks. That's the obvious play, but let's see if we can see anything else. Looks like the minions are here. Varus playing very, very safe. Understandable because Kiana and Akali are very lethal, especially Kiana with that E forward onto a minion. Something we have to watch out for.
Yeah, he's just looking for those max range Q pokes. We're not able to see what the items are on either team right now, but I would imagine it is AD for the Varus, as we've discussed. Max and Evan shoving in early on as Varus and Shaco back up to clear the way closer to their turret.
Yeah, and Kiana, I think, is also the key in this matchup for the side of Max and Evan. Akali really does not have range apart from, walking up W and Q, but that's just a hefty cooldown. Oh, and big poke landing onto the side of Max and Evan.
Yeah, Philo on this Kiana already half HP is backing up for the Relic now.
Yeah, double Comet, double poke. Shaco's his point and click as well, so, if Max and Evan can't get a huge engage, that's some good poke though.
Yeah, not bad. Taking some damage onto Dark Caster. The poke will come back with the Varus Q, taking off a bit of HP. Kiana grabs the stun from the Relic. It actually does count as River on Howling Abyss here.
Cool fact. It looks like the Cannon Minion is here, so the traps are getting revealed. Cannon Minion goes down. Looks like Kiana is in no position to engage, though, with that health. The Varus and Shaco are slowly grinding down the Assassin combo. I believe that Max and Evan, they're going to look for the 6 here. I think that's their one saving grace here, is that once they have the 6 land a good combo, a good ultimate, they can wipe out Varus in 1 second.
Yep, I would have to agree. That's definitely going to have to be their play. In an extended fight, they probably will not have the damage to finish them off if they can't do it early. Once again, taking into account that the blue team does have both exhaust and heal to try to deter the engage.
Yeah, and looks like CS is going pretty well on the side of Max and Evan as well. Kiana is actually very, feels really good to CS with. So, I believe they will have no problem catching waves in their turret, unlike other melee. Oh, the Smart goes in. Akali marks the Shaco, but his Smart goes back in, lands on a block, ult onto Varus. He's exhausted up. Kiana lands a huge ultimate. Akali finishing the job onto Shaco. I actually didn't expect Shaco to go down. Varus is getting melted down by the Shaco clone. She's going to survive, though.
Yeah, Kiana's going to just limp out of there, almost going down. The Q run, the Varus will not finish her off with the Q. And like we said, just hitting the 6 and instantly all-inning with the marks. Shaco having almost no chance to survive there, being blown up by the combination of the Kiana ult plus the Akali ult.
And yeah, this combo is extremely lethal, even with the Shaco ultimate, the Shaco Q, the Shaco boxes, the exhaust. Shaco still died through all of that. Through that, they still managed to kill him.
Yeah, we're seeing the scoreboard now back up. Shaco is able to come back with a Hex Tech alternator, so a bit of a stronger buy after he goes down. However, will it be enough to turn around the fight?
Yeah, it looks like, oh, Kiana dashes forward, is ignited up, and is instantly taken out by the Shaco Ignite. I don't know if that was intentional, actually, maybe to get items.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange play. It may be a tactical death. Like you said, maybe he had a break buy. We see he's buying the serrated Dirk and adding that to his build. Otherwise, it did seem like a strange play, a bit int, if I were to be honest with you, dashing in and just dying with low HP.
And ultimates are actually coming back on both sides as well, so it looks like a pretty, should I say, a fair fight if Kiana managed to rotate her ultimate lands it, but Varus has his ultimate as well, and Shaco Ult obviously a huge asset to his survivability and escape potential. So
yeah, for sure.
We'll definitely see what happens.
The Kiana Akali ults are going to come back up before Varus' flash and before Shaco's exhaust, so they can take advantage of that window to once again do their double ult plan, blow one of them up. And this match might be over and they can get that kill first.
Yeah, and Varus Shaco taking control of the bush. Kiana hurt so much with the Q poke.
Yeah, big buy. She actually got the Serrated Dirk and the Caulfield's Warhammer. She definitely is the strongest champion on the Howling Abyss right now in terms of items.
Yeah, but Team Double Dingus saying, you're not the only one that can poke. We got the box, we got the arrow. Throwing comments into Kiana's face, so.
Yeah, worth mentioning that the Varus actually did opt into a Sapphire Crystal as one of his items, so he can throw out more of that Q poke. But it looks like for now, Max Evan will be pretty healthy.
So it looks like Kiana is actually, like you mentioned, is the strongest person on the Howling Abyss right now. And I think a full combo actually will kill a Squishy if you manage to land it. A nice poke onto Shaco right now as well.
Very substantial damage for just landing a stray ability, honestly. Varus going for some Q poke, only does about 160, not too much HP coming off of Akali's health bar there.
And I'm kind of thinking that if Akali can pull aggro for the Kiana to come in, swoop in right after and hit the enemy team, this looks pretty good for Max Evan. Akali actually runs through 2 boxes, presses W, and just walks into Varus' face and throws a Q at him. Yeah,
forcing Shaco to burn his ult there. That was actually pretty good on the side of Max and Evan. They still have both of their ultimates. However, the Varus's, or the blue teams, all of their summoners are actually back up, adding it into that survivability.
And not looking very good for Team Double Dingus here. Look at the CS numbers. Kiana 29, Akali 27, Varus only having 35. This could just go to a CS victory if, and Team Double Dingus aren't the most proactively engaging type of champions, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Max haven't realized, as they are much more of a kill thirsty team. They like going for the kill win. However, if they did want to just farm this out, they do have the wave clear and the HP to probably win on CS if that is something they opt to do.
Max Evan walking into the Relic. The box is going to be there. The poke lands onto the Akali, but even with double comet, it doesn't look very significant. Max and Evan kind of they're holding all the cards here.
Yeah, for sure. That damage does seem kind of low. That is a Hextech Alternator on the Shaco plus the Q from the Varus, barely doing much HP to Akali's health bar. Kiana is a bit lower here, avoiding the E-poke right there nicely.
Yeah, and Kiana is the presence of Kiana makes it so that Varus and Shaco just cannot cannot give her the E range. They'll definitely die. I will bet my life savings that if Kiana lands an EQWQ, one of the dinguses are definitely getting deleted.
Max and Evan up to 70 CS now almost, as they are inching closer to that 100 CS win condition.
Yeah, they're walking back to the Relic. They're going to take it slow. The wave is coming under the turret again, but Max and Evan always ready, always prepared. Kiana has a lot of damage on her auto with her passive, so a lot of potential to just choke out Team Double Dingus with no range, actually.
Yeah, it's surprising to see. It looks like Double Dingus just not on top of their farm game. They're gonna hide. Max and Evan gonna hide under turret here as the wave pushes into them. They're gonna pick up the Relic. Decent poke on the Akali.
And, relics are neutral resources, but at the moment they are not. Relics favor Max and Evan so much because if Max and Evan can kind of go toe-to-toe, even with the enemy team, then they have the farm win condition. So
yeah, absolutely. We can see their Kiana not opting to take the Mark's dash. Maybe they are actually playing for the farm win condition here.
And I can kind of see that Team Double Dingus is actually getting a little bit anxious, getting a little bit more proactive. They're walking up more. Shaco cues forward with his only survival ability and just throws a knife into the Kiana. Like that's I can kind of see the pressure is mounting. Looks like Kiana and Akali combined have 85 CS now.
Yeah, 2 or 3 more waves will do it. Even if they farm it perfectly. It looks like Team Double Dingus are trying to play forward, trying to look for something. It looks like they are aware of the CS win condition creeping up on them.
Yeah, and they have to go for something. Team Double Dingus is getting absolutely choked out right now by 2 assassins that, it's a very tricky situation. If they overstep, trying to force a fight, Kiana can just delete one of them. But if they just sit back, they're going to lose.
Yeah, for sure. You can see actually they were actually ignoring the wave. A flash in by Max Evan. They're going for the kill rather than the CS win condition. Both ults are going to come out, but Shaco's going to stay alive. The Shroud comes down, and Akali's hiding it in. R2 onto the Varus isn't going to be enough. Shaco's walking away. Varus is walking away. neither team will go down, but this favors Max M as they can go back and farm the wave. 88 CS now, 89.
Yeah, and I think Max and everyone were kind of going for a play where, the enemy team, Double Dingus, thought, oh, they're just going to farm it out. They're going to go for something safe. So they walked up, got a little bit complacent, and Akali and Kiana jumping forward. Unfortunately, the ults, the follow-up, it doesn't really land. A target focusing through the exhaust. A little bit disappointing from the side of Double Assassin.
Yeah, but like we said, it's not going to matter too much now. They're up to 94 CS. They're going to have to pick up some of the minions from this wave and some from the next wave in order to win it out.
Yeah, and Mark is actually back, almost back now on the side of the Double Assassins. I think they're going to opt for the CS, though. Varus knows. Oh, and it takes a turret shot. Kiana actually flees forward.
Oh, Max and Evan are going to finish off the Varus as Team Double Dingus gets desperate to stop them from winning through CS. Max and Evan will win with a 2-kill advantage.
And yeah, that was kind of a catch-22 situation, as we were saying. It looked a little bit close at the end, but there was really nothing Team Double Dingus can do against the farming Kiana Akali with the snowball. They can engage you from half a screen away. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good try from Double Dingus.
Good try, good effort from them. They definitely held out against the Double Assassin comp well, only letting one kill go over until the end, where they were sort of forced. Their hand was forced, and they had to sort of fight it. CSing definitely not looking too great. Maybe they will focus on this more in their next game.
Yeah, and I think one thing Shaco makes CSing harder with the box placements. I know she plays the boxes around the wave as well, but definitely a character that does not have a lot of auto damage, doesn't have a lot of utility in terms of like wave clear, unless he's using the boxes on the waves, which basically kind of negates the point of picking Shaco. So maybe we'll see a champions with better wave clear in the future, or maybe just better like dueling potential, because maybe they pick out something like like a Renekton or like a Set or like a Garen that can shut down assassins really hard.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see based on what their champ pool is. It's hard to say, but this is the second loss we're seeing from Shaco from a different team against Max and Evan. I would definitely, like you said, just like to see a change up there, maybe see more of a fighting, dueling champion that can help them beat Max and Evan in these fights.
Yeah, and so far, it's a small sample size, but Shaco looking like Nidalee Renekton in the LCS, like an NAJ's type of pick. Not looking too hot. Let's see if the Team Dingus is actually Double Dingus pulls out a different pick like Renekton Orianna.
Yeah, we're going to see. It is possible that was banned due to the earlier matches. The teams do have information on what the other teams played throughout this bracket, so we'll see what bans come out this time. Also worth noting once again that Max and Evan didn't get to play their Lee Sin Nunu combo, which we've seen before, but still picking out a win with the Akali Kiana, which is a bit of a different combo compared to Lee Sin Nunu.
Right, and Max and Evan are kind of the senders, they're full sending everything. They're picking champions that run into your face and go, I'm going to kill you now. While a lot of other teams have opted for, a range and a melee, range and disengage, kind of for like balance. Max and Evan having a lot of success just saying, I like screw your range, I'm just going to beat you up.
Yeah, the full send strategy, it's working out for them. Even if we saw at the end of that game opting to go for the kill rather than just finishing off the CS under the turret, they definitely smell blood in the water and they go for it.
Yeah, and Max and Evan playing like a little bit of a bunch of sharks here. So let's see if Team Double Dingus brings out their harpoons.
Yeah, Team Double Dingus have to go shark hunting here as we hopefully get into champ select soon enough for the next game. As this is a best of 3. Max and Evan up 1-0 against Team Double Dingus.
Yeah, Max and Evan's looking like the best homies for this duo duel so far for Valentine's Day. So
yeah, it's worth noting this is the winners final, so not the grand final just yet, but this is the last game of the last match of the upper bracket. Max and Evan winning through all their games thus far.
Yeah, Max and Evan definitely contenders. The full senders, the full contenders. I'm definitely excited to see what else they pull out. I'm kind of interested on what the bans are going to be. Again, are they going to ban out the Nunu or the Double Assassin combo?
Yeah, with only 3 bans, they can't hit everything. They could hit the Lee Sin Nunu and one of the 2 assassins, but that will leave up the other one for them to pick. So it is interesting to see what they might pull out. Team Double Dingus also maybe should opt for a new strategy. The ADC, Shaco once again, as we mentioned, not working out. Maybe we'll see a completely different strategy, hopefully, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see what Max and Evan pull out. I'm thinking maybe Aurelia, Yasuo, Zed. That would be something kind of in accordance with what they've been picking so far. Definitely exciting though.
Yeah, for sure. Seems like they have pretty big champion pools on Max and Evan's side. Team Double Dingus, as we mentioned before, was the team that picked Renekton Orianna, so it is reason to believe that those got banned. Um, I'll have to see what they pull out this time around.
Yeah, I mean, if you were if me and you were playing in this, what are you picking out? What's your main?
I think I would have to pull out the Ornn. We haven't seen many tanks that are very
Oh,
we haven't seen any tanks at all. Actually, I think aside from the Tom Kent, which is still more of a supportive champion during that 2v2. As a tank player, I'd like to see more tank representation, and
mm,
Ornn as the cleric, assassin, mage, wizard.
right.
I think he has
Assassin,
some kill
yeah,
potential.
yeah, of course. And Ornn, if you're playing Ornn, maybe I play Yasuo. We got the knock-up synergy. You can like clap someone. I believe clapping is actually a knockup for Yasuo. So
It is. You have to spam the ult on Yasuo in order to like, actually get a window for it, as it's really hard to react to. But it's certainly a combo that I think we would maybe take the championship with.
right, as a Yasuo player, the R key on my keyboard is very worn out. I walk into every team fight doing this. So definitely, if you play Ornn, that's a lot of synergy we can have there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really exciting to see a combo like that come out. Yasuo, not such a popular champion in recent seasons, although he was very popular back in the day of Season 5, Season 6 maybe. Yeah, a lot of the picks we're seeing are definitely, going to guess, are comfort picks.
Right, and it's kind of ironic because Yasuo is actually played as a counter to Ornn in a lot of games. As you like, Windwall absolutely destroys Ornn. The Call of the Forge God is kind of the life and soul, of Ornn sometimes, but he also just presses like no.
Yeah, the win wall can definitely be frustrating, and also it would be useful in this 2v2 duels. A lot of the picks are ranged champions or have a ranged ability that makes up their kit, such as the Varus ult or the Kiana ult. So it would be nice to see someone a more counter pick, a better counter pick come out, despite the fact that it is blind pick.
Right, and it's pretty interesting because it looks like we kind of see two meta reads. We either have the "Do not come to us" versus the "We are going to come to you" meta. And I think that's pretty interesting. So far, the "Do not come to us" meta has been taking a lot of L's, but we're going back.
Jumping into champs like here, Max and Evan will be on the blue side this time. Once again, hovering Kiana and Akali, so it's reason to believe that Nunu, Lee Sin, and a third champion were banned out instead of either of these assassins. On the side of Team Double Dingus, they are hovering their Renekton, which they had success with in earlier matches.
Oh, but we have some spicy hovers. We have Ivern. Oh, Kiana Kali is locked on the side of Max and Evan, but Ivern hover with Renekton on the side of Team Double Dingus.
Yeah, Ivern's definitely a strange pick here, not known for his skirmishing potential. There is a duo combo with Ivern and Rengar, which can be a bit effective, but as we see, Renekton is locked in, and the Ivern will be locked in. Definitely a strange pick here. I'm curious to see how this works out.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Ivern Q is kind of one of the key points here. If you land Ivern Q, a melee character can just dash to the enemy. So I'm kind of wondering if they're going to use this as like a Walmart mark kind of deal with CC with Renekton. Obviously, Renekton, one of the strongest characters in the game. If he lands an empowered W on an enemy, he can just instantly obliterate them. Especially Kiana and Akali, they're very good. They're very good assassins, but something like Renekton is kind of their hard counter.
Yeah, they're forced to go in onto this Renekton if they want to fight, and they will just get absolutely stunned and blown up possibly. As you mentioned, this Ivern does add that extra dash potential to the Renekton. Maybe not as useful against two melee champions on the side of Kiana and Akali, but it will hopefully add some survivability to Renekton as well with the shield.
Right, and I think that's a big key point actually, is that last game we saw that they played Varus and Shaco, and they could not walk up and contest Kiana Kali at all. They were getting absolutely bullied by the threat of the E forward and the E backwards with the kunais, and that was something that really looked like it hurt Team Double Dinguses. So I think this is kind of them saying, if you're gonna contest the wave, sure, we're gonna contest you back with Renekton and Ivern. And maybe some bushes on their side of the wave as well.
Yeah, for sure. Try to play the vision game with those bushes. And Ivern actually is not the weakest duelist either. It's possible he takes lethal tempo, which is tech we've seen before in solo queue. A very common, I guess, dark tech on Ivern's side that can actually do a lot of damage while staying healthy with his shields.
Right, and he also looks extremely silly.
Ivern's auto attack animation pretty funny, especially when his attack speed starts to ramp up.
So
yeah.
There's potential to see the world's scariest, lankiest man throwing hands with two assassins in this game. So we'll definitely see.
Yeah, 1 minute until we get into game here. We can see what runes they opt for and what build they will opt for here. Looking at level 6, which side do you think has the advantage?
I think definitely, depends on the summoners, but I definitely think Renekton and Ivern's side has the advantage here. While Kiana and Akali's ults are very good for burning a single target down, their opponent is Renekton with Dominus. A lot of lifesteal on the Q, and of course a given bonus health. Rage Generation. As someone that plays like Akali, you know, I can fight an Nasus or a Renekton like that are 2 levels down, but as soon as they press ult, they turn into an absolute menace and they can just, destroy me as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. If they're not able to blow up that target with their ultimates, then they will be left like sitting ducks to be cut down. So it's going to be difficult to see if they can get through the Renekton dominance, through the Ivern shields, and through the CC as well.
right, and one thing interesting also is that Daisy is Ivern's ultimate, and without range, it's very hard to deal with Daisy. Daisy actually really, really annoying. Every 3rd strike knocks them up. And Kiana and Akali don't really have sustained damage to burn down Daisy in a big team fight. And I think if there's a very angry alligator or crocodile and very angry stone golem walking at you, it's going to be very hard for Kiana and Akali to walk out of that scot-free.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll have to see how they deal with Daisy. Definitely a menacing addition to the level 6 fight, as we will be getting into game very shortly.
Very shortly. Get a small water break.
Alright, and we are into the game looking at summoners on the side of Team Double Dingus. Ivern opting for the heal and the exhaust. No flash once again. And double mark from Team Max and Evan.
Right, and Double Dingus opting for the double combat summoners again. Interesting thing to note, no ignite on the side of the assassins, so heal is going to get its full value. On the side of Ivern, throws a Q into the bush. No one's there. Akali and Kiana know better.
Marks are going to land onto the Renekton. Ivern playing back, giving the shield to Renekton as he's going to double dash out. Some traded back on damage traded back onto the Kiana.
Overall, a decent trade for the side of Max and Evan. I think Renekton took a little bit too much burst damage from both assassins. Ivern does not provide as much in terms of, like quick skirmishes. If the damage being focused like really hard into one target, Ivern's shield is not, that significant.
Yeah, for sure. And we see that Ivern did opt for the common instead of lethal tempo, so his fighting power is not as powerful as he would be otherwise. But yeah, this chunk onto Renekton maybe not the most important, as he does have innate healing from his Q if he can hit that onto the minions. But for now, Max and Evan will be the ones pushing it.
Yeah, and Ivern is setting up the push. A nice combo by Kiana chunks out the Ivern. The shield comes out too late to prevent the damage from being absorbed.
Yeah, that was really nice play by by Philo on the Kiana, knowing that Ivern was there, getting some good chunk damage on, and without time for him to react.
Yeah, now the wave is right outside of Double Dingus' turret. Level ups coming into both sides. Akali and Kiana has the upper hand again. Like we saw last game, early assassins, very lethal actually.
Yeah, it's pleased to see Renekton goes in for the E-1, dashes out the E2 after queuing. Not much damage traded onto either one with the Ivern shield.
And we kind of saw the potency. Oh my god, a huge Q lands onto In Your Blood and Dark Caster. Double Dinguses kind of being made to look like real Dinguses by the Kiana Akali here. It's not going very well.
Yeah, it's really curious to see they're getting poked out by the double melee assassins. Maybe not something we'd expect from the two, from a Kiana and an Akali, but they really do have the chunk damage, dashing in and dashing out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, myself included, actually underestimate Kiana and her potential to do a lot of poke in lane, and to be elusive with her bush Q. But we're definitely seeing that Philo kind of looks like he's in his comfort zone. Renekton and Ivern, they're supposed to be this lethal infighting combo, but with a quick trade on the side of Philo, the Ivern shield is definitely not enough to kind of counteract that.
Yeah, for sure. You can see once, as mentioned, Ivern did opt for that Comet, so he doesn't have the additional shield from Airy either. And that Comet from a Q hit right now, not doing too much damage. We can see the items here now on our screen.
Again, Kiana with 17 CS only compared to Double Dingus at 2. Renekton walks in with a W, but Akali smartly pressure shrouds and walks out of the W range. A really huge part of the Renekton matchup, even in top lane, as you can know, is not giving him that W range. So.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like they're playing that really well. Going for a dive, actually, under the turret.
Stepping is under 2 turrets.
Perfect execution onto the Renekton will take him out as he now walks back towards the red team's fountain on the wrong side of the map, but he does get that kill. We'll see if Darkcaster 65 on this Ivern can actually trade back the kill.
And Renekton is respawning in 7 seconds. Restepping needs to find a way out of here. I think he's going to do as much damage to Ivern before he dies. Daisy takes out Akali, and he'll trade it back on each side.
Yeah, so in the end, it is a 1-for-1. However, Akali will be able to buy items with her gold. Meanwhile, Ivern getting the kill and still alive will not be able to make use of that as they try to chase Philo down.
And interesting item choices from the Akali, getting a Void Crystal and a Cloth Armor. Cloth Armor kind of respecting the Renekton damage, and the Void Crystal obviously to do a little bit more burst onto a single target. Now that both sides are both a kill down and a kill up, I guess, at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely an interesting pick here as he goes back in on the Ivern, drops down the shot. Dominus is going to be put down by Renekton in your blood, looking for blood. Dashes in. Q. He's autoing down the Akali.
Now, Dominus
Huge
being
damage
popped
traded.
is very, very huge. Akali, you know, Renekton W is the most lethal ability in his kit, but by Akali pressing Shroud, he baits out the Dominus. Akali really doesn't have to use too much to exit that situation there. And with Kiana ult and Akali ult coming back around, I think, you know, this is kind of Max and Evan's fight to lose. It's very difficult for Double Dingus to win a fight without Dominus.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to have to try to play back while that cooldown comes back up. We can see Akali actually bought 3 potions when she died, and now she's chugging all 3, healing back up. Without any innate sustain, that will be mostly healing they have.
And I think that was a very smart play by restepping. He kind of knows that, you know, Ivern and Renekton are looking for blood. You know, they're looking for their one shot. But Akali with the Shroud is able to just say, no, you know, I'm going to disengage. Akali jumps in again. Theo is doing great.
Without Dominus, feels low. And your blood is also going to go down on the Renekton. And that will be the win over to Max and Evan as they kill off the Dominus-less Renekton.
And like you said, Max and Evan are showing off their killer instinct, you know, like the enemy team can make one misstep and they just jump forward, you know, they instantly, you know, like, oh, they bite onto the enemy team, you know, absolutely destroying the Renekton there, I believe. And
yeah, like you said, really showing off the killer instinct. They had a CS lead, a strong CS lead. They're still just opting to go for the kills. Yeah, wonderful play out of Max and Evan as they will now take the winner's bracket finals 2-0.
Yeah, and the thing about Renekton is that, you know, a lot of people are very scared of Renekton. He's a very big, scary crocodile man. But the thing to remember is without Dominus, he's actually quite squishy without items sometimes.
Yeah, very squishy for sure. We saw the Ivern shield not enough. The Ivern pick definitely has an interesting tech there. I think Daisy did do some decent work in that first team fight. However, not doing much as Renekton just goes down in the last one.
Right, and Max and Evan kind of pulls out with the ultimate economical ultimate advantage as well. Kind of led to that victory. Very smartly played by Max and Evan. You know, they look like, you know, like senders, you know, no-brain senders, but actually they're playing every fight very, very smartly.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely showing off their mechanical prowess here, dominating the teams in the 2v2. The Kiana and Kali, definitely a strong pick.
And it's flashy too.
It's flashy, yeah. Compared to the Lee Sin Nuna, maybe a bit flashier than that. So we'll have to see who their next opponent decides to ban between those 4 champions.
Yeah, and I think one good thing about, you know, being dominant in all your picks is that the enemy has to pick and choose. You know, am I going to ban this out? Am I going to ban that out? You know, like maybe they ban Kiana and Nunu or something. You know, maybe they try to target both of them.
Yeah, some combination like that. But yeah, Max and Evan are the ones to watch here as they are going to be moving on to the grand finals, waiting for their opponent from the loser bracket.
Yeah, and Double Dingus, you know, it was a good run. They had a good try. I think I saw the philosophy behind their picks, but a lot of things you can just not. There's not a lot of things that can overcome, you know, double focus damage with electrocute.
Yeah, for sure. And also just knowing that although this is blind pick, they should probably be expecting the Kiana and Akali to come out again. So maybe that was their attempt at a counter pick. Not working out, obviously, but if they can make it through the lower bracket, they can come back into the grand finals with a new strategy in mind.
Right. And, you know, what do you think about the, you know, like, I know that Max and Evan are the strong, you know, have been obviously the dominant teams in here, but, you know, what do you think between something like Caitlyn, Tom Kench, and between something like what we just saw, like Renekton and Ivern?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think is going to come out on top? Because Caitlyn is actually not that strong in the early game. You know, everyone thinks Caitlyn is very, very powerful with her range, but she only provides minor poke and some form of wave clears. So I'm kind of interested to hear your thoughts on what champions you kind of had your eye on.
Yeah, I think definitely, like you said, the Caitlyn Tom Kench not working out too much. The Caitlyn poke just not enough to really take out the double melees. Renekton, I did like that pick, not paired with an Ivern. You mentioned the Renekton prior to Champions Night. It is, I think the way to match Max and Evan would be to have your own full send comp, have your own full team fight, go for the kill comp, and try to beat them out in that sense. Renekton showing off well there, just the Ivern not doing enough to help him out.
Right, and I think Max and Evan, you know, we say that they're assassins, but one thing they have is stealth. You know, if they have stealth, Renekton can't press W. You know, Ivern can't land anything. You know, it's very difficult for the, you know, like the just point and click champions to overcome their hard counter, which is I press W, I press Q.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna have to see if they can pull something out instead of the Renekton encounter, or if they stick with the Renekton paired with a better champion.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of interested in one more aspect of, you know, like the 2v2s as well, and that is, you know, how are people dying? You know, when you die, you know, even if you die first, if you're coming back with items and can wipe the enemy team, like you mentioned, that could be a very tactical death. And we kind of saw that Akali, went past 2 turrets, basically into the base of Double Dingus's, and died. But at the end, that kind of worked out for them.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly, like you said. Going in, getting the kill, and then dying after, you still get to make advantage of the money you got from that kill. Meanwhile, Renekton died first, and Ivern getting the kill but stays alive would not make use of that gold. So in that final fight 2v2, the side of Max Nevin did have that slight gold advantage and item advantage.
Right, and I think there was one time where if Ivern maybe landed a Q and the Renekton coming back, there was a chance Double Dingus could have bursted down the Kiana. But again, Max and Evan, very big brain to not fall for that as well.
Yeah, playing very smartly on the side of Max Nevin, playing their comp to a T. We'll have to see if any team can combat their strategies.
Yeah, Max and Evan, I'm kind of excited if they have any other pocket picks. They got the full send number 1, full send number 2. Let's see if they have. They even have to pull out full send number 3.
Yeah, as we can see, not a game taken off of them just yet, so they haven't been really pushed to their limits to test their champion pools. Hopefully we do see that happen, so we can see what else they have in their pockets.
Right, Max and Evan looking like the best homies once again so far.
Max and Evan are the best homies out here, as I believe we'll be getting into the next game shortly enough.
Yep.
Hopefully, as the teams are still setting up for the next game.
Yeah, so have you been watching any esports lately?
Oh, I have been watching esports. I think right now, I believe it might already be over, but there's a game between Vitality and Team Heretics in the LEC.
So are you a Heretics or Vitality kind of guy?
I'm definitely a Vitality kind of guy.
Oh,
I love Bo and I love Perks. They're both amazing players. What about you?
I don't know. I think I would have to be a Heretics kind of guy. They got Eevee like in the top lane, the Japanese, and they got Yankos. Hard to hate. Such a, I guess the EU goat. I mean, I would argue that Yankos is the EU jungle goat. So.
In the jungle for sure, I would have to agree with you.
Right. So definitely hard to hate, hard to root against them. Great people as well. So.
They're definitely playing at the upper echelons of League of Legends. Maybe not as high as the Waterloo Esports duoduels competition, but maybe one day they'll be able to reach that level of play.
I mean, Eevee, kind of good. Yankos, pretty good as well. Max and Evan though, they're undisputed.
Yeah, Max and Evan are undisputed. Oh, and we will be jumping into the champs. I believe this is the losers bracket, so we can see Team Tag Name 0 back with Jimmy and Marshmallow up against, I believe, is Team Double Dingus.
And Marshmallow is picking up the Kiana, so very interesting pick again from their adapting, improvise, adapt, overcome from the side of Jimmy and Marshmallow. And it looks like Orianna and Silas being hovered on the side of
On this, I believe it's Team Double Dingus. And yeah, Kiana, like you said, very interesting pick. This is the second Kiana from a different team. It looks like out of so many 160 champions in League of Legends, we are seeing multiple of the same champion being picked. Marshmallow is maybe studying Max and Evan's VODs. Oh,
and LeBlanc is locked in for Jimmy. LeBlanc actually a pretty interesting champion choice. I can definitely see the merit. You can W forward, QQ, you can W forward, land a combo, and come back. I don't know how much damage that's going to do in ARAM, but I think definitely I see the merit.
Yeah, I believe since this is Howling Abyss, I think the champion-specific buffs might be active. I'm not certain on that, but if that is the case, LeBlanc actually has huge damage buffs as a champion that's not too strong on ARAM. And yeah, so Jimmy and Marshmallow will be opting for the double assassin comp, maybe taking after Max and Evan. Meanwhile, on the side of Team Double Dingus, we have Orianna and Silas.
And Silas, I can definitely see the justification. It's kind of like a Renekton type pick, where if you are getting in their face, Silas obviously with the Kingslayer, with the W, if the fight goes on for long, he can definitely come out on top with the lifesteal and with the execution, especially from the backup from Orianna. But I think this is actually Orianna's game to pilot because, Silas, you have dashes, you have CC, you have self-sustain, but Orianna, all she can do is kind of run around.
Yeah, into 2 assassins once again. So we're seeing that ranged champion having to play positionally in order to stay alive. Orianna not having the most survivability, as you said, into 2 assassins. Another good thing I wanted to mention with the Silas pick, this is blind pick. So picking Silas blind, you might have to deal with getting some bad ultimates. LeBlanc ultimate definitely not the greatest to take.
Right, I can see the Kiana ultimate's merit, definitely, but LeBlanc ultimate, it'd be better if Silas had a choice.
Exactly. So Silas, once we hit level 6, if the fights do go longer than that, he will have to wait for a cooldown in order to get a really impactful ulti. The cooldown is extended based on the person who he steals it from cooldown. So definitely going to be curious to see how he manages to play that out.
Here is one thing I want to mention, though. Can Orianna land Shockwave?
That is fair. Definitely something that we will have to see into champions, both with dashes on the side of LeBlanc and Kiana. He can try to put the ball on Silas, have Silas hit an E2 to CC them, and then follow up immediately after. But yeah, as a big AoE ability in a 2v2, maybe not the most effective.
Right, and I think Shockwave definitely is one of the key factors in this, matchup. If Silas steals a good ultimate, steals Kiana ultimate, they can wombo the Shockwave and the Kiana ultimate together. That would be kind of an instant win on the side of Team Double Dingus. But definitely LeBlanc and Kiana, two very slippery picks. Are they going to let that happen?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how this plays out. Like you said, if Team Double Dingus can pull off that stolen Kiana ult into Orianna Shockwave combo, it will be devastating for sure.
Yeah, and the thing about LeBlanc and Kiana is that they're assassins that have to get into range as well. I think Akali, a little bit different in the aspect that Akali has the Shroud. LeBlanc has the W as well to blink backwards too, but LeBlanc's a little bit harder to land trades because you have to proc the mark, usually with the E if you're not in QW range.
Right.
And if they stand behind minions, it's going to be a little bit hard to execute those trades off with Electrocute.
Yeah, especially when this is also going to be 4 mid lane champions. I'm curious, you mentioned LeBlanc having to hit that E if he's not in QW range. However, on the side of Team Double Dingus, Silas is a melee champion. Orianna is on the shorter range, I would say. So I think it will be possible to hit a QW if he wanted to.
Right. A lot of respect for middle lane champions.
Yeah, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties right now as the teams. Give us just a second as we try to figure out what is going on with this game. All right, well, who won? It turns out that due to how spectators work, the game actually ended before the delay ended, so it looks like an early fight gave the win over to one of the teams. We are not sure who just yet.
I'll refer to our technical desk. Who won?
All right. Sorry, viewers are taking just a second to figure out the technical difficulties here as the producers try to figure out what's going on.
All right, let's make a bet. Who won?
Based on team comps, I would have to give it to...
So basically, losers finals is best of 1. The game ended before we loaded in, so we never got to see the game. So one of the teams won.
Okay, so my bet would be tag team name 0, but who did win?
Sorry?
Do you know which team won? So tag team name 0 did eke out the early win on the LeBlanc plus the Kiana against the Orianna and Silas. What do you think about that?
I mean, if the game ended that fast, there wasn't even the... I mean, we talked so much about the ultimates and the dynamics of that. Looks like someone just got ran over.
Yeah, it seems like tag team name 0, having lost to Max and Evan earlier, really taking after them, going for the early kills, going for that bloodthirsty aggression, and taking it before we can even get into the spectator lobby.
Yeah, and definitely, tag team, they're LeBlanc, Kiana, definitely a menace. And with the Orianna, have you seen the shield on Orianna? It's this small. It's smaller than Ivern's. Like.
Definitely not a substantial shield. And yeah, just to mention that was the loser bracket finals, which was only a best of 1. So we will now be moving on to the grand finals between tag team name 0 and Max and Evan.
Max and Evan, tag team 0. I think they have met in the past, right? They're rivals basically now.
They are rivals. We will be seeing the rematch. Notably, that coming up from the loser bracket, I believe that tag team name 0 will have to win 2 best of 3s to win the championship. Meanwhile, Max and Evan will only need to win 1 in order to take it.
Right, and not letting my bias show, but I hope that we have some good League of Legends played. Ideally, I would like to see 2 best of 5s. That's kind of the best League of Legends I'm going to see. Hopefully, there's not like too much of a wash.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, tag team name 0 hopefully going to take that first series. We can go to the final one to decide it all. But we'll have to see as the producers get that game set up.
Right, and we can kind of see that, like Max and Evan, they're kind of like T1. They've been destroying people, in and out of international leagues. And we got the underdogs tag team DRX coming in, against all odds. They've made it through the losers bracket. So
yeah, we'll have to see how that works out. Yeah, as we mentioned, tag team name 0 picking that Kiana as Max and Evan did in the earlier game. Do you think we might see a double Kiana game come out?
I mean, I think Kiana priority is definitely there. We kind of didn't see tag team play the Kiana, but I've seen definitely Max and Evan have been very impressive on the Kiana. So this might be a battle of Kiana mastery. And although I did not see that game, I would have to give a little bit of edge to Max and Evan. They seem really comfortable on that pick.
Yeah, re-stepping on that Kiana was very powerful, looking for great poke damage. Definitely a strong Kiana player. although I'm not one myself, I imagine that he does have his mechanics down pretty well.
Yeah, and Kiana is it's pretty. It's not the worst. It's not you have to be faker to play it, but it's a relatively difficult champ to trade on. You have to land all your Qs, get some resets in, and the thing is, she can be easily caught out by abilities, in the middle of her trade. So it takes a lot of skill to instantly proc that electrocute and get out scot free.
Yeah, for sure. We'll be jumping into champ select in hopefully just a moment as the teams are banning champs.
And I think that, if this is T1 versus DRX, as a T1 fan, it makes me kind of sad what that outcome of last Worlds was. But, let's see if Max and Evan can take this one home, or is tag team going to pull off the DRX?
So as we speaking to their earlier series against each other, that was, I believe, the series where Max and Evan pulled out the Lee Sin Nunu, defeating tag team's combo of a Caitlyn plus another champion of either Tom Kench or Shaco. But as we saw, they just won their game playing Kiana and LeBlanc. So do you think that tag team name will opt for this newer strategy of playing two assassins, or do you think they'll revert back to their idea of Caitlyn plus another champion?
Well, I mean, I think maybe then tag team has been, doing some machine learning. They've been accumulating the data, and now I feel like they are going to opt for maybe a more melee assassination type. That seems to be the meta right now. That seems to be what's working. Max and Evan could just be cracked, and they are cracked, but they definitely kind of have the read on the meta that range champions, although they kind of have the potential for CSing, they get kind of way too blown up way too easily, so they have to play too far back.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point you mentioned, though, even that they do not CS pretty that well. Max and Evan are just, it seems like, the better players when it comes to CSing, and even on these champions that are not known for CSing super well, they are getting these CS leads that they could take the win with if they chose to.
Right, and the thing about CSing champions like ADCs is that they need room, to CS. And usually in the bot lane, there's supports to kind of hold their hand, but if you have an ADC and a character that can't really protect them that well, it's very, very easy for them to just get blown up.
Yeah, especially by Max and Evan, as we've seen very bloodthirsty players. I believe we are jumping into champ select now, hovering a whole bunch of new champions.
We have Bard, Tryndamere, Draven, and Tryndamere on both sides, actually.
I don't know if these teams are discussing picks behind the scenes or something. We're seeing a lot of duplicate picks come out. So, as we say, tag team name 0 with the Bard and Tryndamere, a very strange combo for sure. And on the side of Max and Evan, once again, a sort of a full kill team comp, Tryndamere and a very strong ADC in Draven.
Yeah, and Draven, I kind of can see the merit. And obviously, Draven is a very, very good ADC for, just general fighting, like short skirmishes, has a lot of damage output. I think one key point, though, is if you can get a little bit of stacks, he can execute someone with the ultimate as well.
That is worth noting, yes, the new stack mechanic on Draven's ultimate, where he will execute people under the amount of champions with HP less than the number of adoration stacks that he has. However, the hover is now changed to Pantheon and Tryndamere on the side of Max and Evan.
And yeah, Pantheon also a pretty good pick for the 2v2, and looks like Pyke is hovered as well. Definitely, I think Max and Evan are going for something like Pantheon jumps on them and Pyke lands the ult, executes the enemy. Pantheon obviously absolute menace to lane against as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a scary champion. Tag Team name 0 locking in the Tryndamere and the Bard. As the timer ticks down, we have Tryndamere locked in. And I believe Riven on Max and Evan.
Riven. I mean, Riven is one of those champions that you either play Riven or you don't. And so I think it'll be very interesting to see if Max and Evan have the hands to pilot Riven, actually. If they do, we could be in for a treat. And I want to talk about the Bard. What do you think about the Bard pick?
I think the Bard is definitely a strange one. In a traditional 5v5 on Summoner's Rift, Bard is not known for his lane dominance and more so of a roaming champion, picking up chimes, dropping heal pads for his ADC if needed. So as an actual straight 2v2 champion, I don't see this as being a super great pick, and picking up chimes will be difficult.
Right, and I think Bard maybe is the ultimate is also very interesting. Tempered Fate is a very, very strong ult on Summoner's Rift, but on the side of this game, I actually don't know what the Bard strategy is with the ultimate. It's not like I feel like even if a tag team get ahead, it's going to be very hard for them to do a dive or anything after freezing the turret, because it is Riven and Tryndamere. They're very good. They have CC and they have survivability against dive, so it'll definitely be interesting to see what Bard can do. He does have range, however.
Yeah, he does have that range advantage. It's possible we see the Halo Blades build for playing more of an ADC or APC type build. As you said, Tryndamere will have that way of surviving dives with his Undying Rage. But yeah, also worth noting, like you said, the Bard ult normally very good in Summoner's Rift. You can use it to catch people or to set up abilities. With a Tryndamere as his teammate, there's nothing really to set up there. Tryndamere would have to just wait around until they're not golden anymore to start auto-attacking. So once again, another reason that it might not be the greatest pick here.
Right. Tryndamere can, I guess, just yell at him.
Yeah, a great setup for the yell, reducing the AD of a double AD duo on the side of Riven and Tryndamere, so possibly a counter there.
Yeah, but I think Bard, I can see the merit in it if he lands consistent Qs for the disengage while trading with the range, then I can definitely see the benefit of Bard. One more thing is though, Bard Tunnel is kind of useless.
Bard Tunnel is definitely a useful ability. That is a good point. Yeah, Bard definitely not having the tools we'd expect to see in a 2v2 fight. Also noting, as you said, they're trying to hit Qs. Riven and Tryndamere both have dashes. They're quite fairly mobile champions, so hitting a stun Q will be fairly difficult as well.
However, we have to remember that, this is 2v2. Bard is, we can't just judge characters off what abilities they have. If Bard is a crazy APC, if he's just like throwing all those like boys around, then maybe we can see an upset here.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how this plays out. Very spicy picks coming out. It's worth mentioning that neither team picked Kiana and neither team picked the picks we've seen before, so it is reason to believe that these were banned out to show us these new spicy picks.
Yeah, and I think Riven is actually, I want to see them hands, I want to see the Riven, I want to see the shy combos, I want to see the EQ cancels. You can tell I'm not a Riven player.
That's something box.
Yeah,
very certain. We've seen Max Diamond piloting mechanically difficult champions already, like Akali and Kiana. I would have reason to believe that their Riven would be sound at worst.
Right, and Bard and Tryndamere, the tunnel, like we said, is kind of useless. But I do want to kind of call into question, is Bard, is there an alternative to Bard that kind of fills that niche of having sustain and range?
Yeah, there's probably a few champions that could fill that, but in terms of damage, I think that Bard does a surprisingly high amount of damage that can be unexpected, so maybe they'll try to take advantage of his burst. As we jump into the game, we'll see what builds these players opt for.
And we are slowly getting into game.
You can see it's re-stepping on the Tryndamere and Philo on the Riven against Marshmallow on Bard and Jimmy piloting the opposite Tryndamere.
Interesting. Lost Chapter is actually bought on the side of Bard there. Looks like he is opting for more mana. Is that the benefit there?
Yeah, more mana on level up so you can spam abilities prior to that. Definitely an interesting pick here as Guardian Orb is an extremely strong item. We can see the other three players all opting for Guardian items in Guardian's Hammer. And two-man stun actually coming out of Marshmallow early on, but he's going to get jumped on by the double.
Oh, they've made the Riven extremely angry, and Marshmallow jumps backwards. Flash is blown by all tides. Tryndamere looks
another
like he's
two-man
go
stun.
down. But Marshmallow saving the day with a double stun, but he does not have flash up. Re-stepping a fellow jumps out and instantly wipes out the Bard. He is kind of overstepping, I feel like, without the Q.
Yeah, that was definitely a strange play. Marshmallow just walking too far up into the double kill melee comp of Max and Evan, and he will go down for it. Jimmy barely limping out alive with the help of Marshmallow's Bard.
And we did talk about tactical deaths, but dying this early really brings no merit. Like Bard can't buy items, he's already blown a potion, and summoners are going to come back. Riven jumping forward lands a double stun. Jimmy is so low once again. Bard is pocketing the electrocute, autoing down Philo, but that's looks like too little too late.
Definitely too little too late, like you said, not being able to take advantage of that death at all. That is simply a setback this early on. Jimmy's trying to heal up with the Q. Philo definitely demonstrating some Riven mechanics here with an EW play. Marshmallow missing a blind Q. As Philo and Reset will have the upper hand here with an HP advantage.
Yeah, and Jimmy is, Jimmy's autoing, Jimmy's healing, but on the side of Philo and re-stepping, they've blown the summons early, and now everything's coming back for them. So if the fight breaks down and there's a 1v1 trade again, that's game.
Yeah, that will be a game. Re-stepping, not having to burn flash, as we mentioned, so having that one summoner advantage. Obviously also opted for double mark as usual. On the side of Tag Team of Zero, Jimmy took Ghost and did not use it. However, Ghost, not the most effective combat summoner.
Yeah, it looks like the wave is pushing towards re-stepping and Philo. Let's see if Bard can do a lot of damage here. The ranged character, one of the benefits that Bard brings is that he can just bully under turret, and if they try to engage on him, he can't throw the Q and run backwards.
Yeah, for sure.
So we definitely can see the merit. The wave is crashing into the turret right now. Let's see what we can do.
Yep, Jimmy actually back to full HP with that sustain through his Q. going for some autos on the turret, re-stepping, dashing in. Philo marking in, going in for some Pokemon, but trading back out. Jimmy's actually going to take a turret shot, but heal most of it back up. Philo's about half HP, while Jimmy only loses about a quarter.
Yeah, that was really, really interesting because Philo is trading under his turret, but the trade actually came out positive for the side of Jimmy, so we can definitely see the potential here.
Yeah, level 6 is being hit now by all players. I definitely didn't like that play as much as from the side of Max 7, where Philo's the one going in when he's not the one with sustain. Tryndamere definitely could step up more and take some more poke while healing it back up, as we've seen from the side of Jimmy.
Right, and I think Philo was trying to get the wave clear as well in there, but you know, maybe if we had Tryndamere engage with Philo, there we could have seen a better trade. We don't know, but with the 6s, it's very interesting though, because Riven, when Tryndamere jumps in, he's out. Riven has the Wind Slash compared to Tempered Fate. Tempered Fate will kind of delay a fight, but I'm not sure if that does too much.
Yeah.
When there's a Riven with a big sword.
I would definitely give the advantage to Riven with the big sword in terms of team fighting power there. We can see for the first time in our games actually that Max 7 have less CS, just barely under the tag team names Zero's total CS as they farm up the bigger wave here.
Yeah, the big wave is coming to crash into tag team side. Let's see if they can get the CS here as well. Level 7 is hit on both teams as well. Marshmallow looks to, you know, walking up with the Power Chime, you know, wanting to get a little good trade onto Tryndamere. Unfortunately, it is Tryndamere, and he will heal that back.
Yeah, a very bloody fight early on between these two, actually resulting in a kill, but it looks like now neither team is willing to go for the all-in. They're just healing up what little poke both teams put out.
Oh, and a nice Q lands onto the Riven. Tryndamere has to eat backwards as well. Snowball lands on the Bard, but I don't think Philo is suicidal enough to jump into that kind of fight.
Certainly not the right play there. This lost chapter pick by definitely not bringing out much value for the Bard. He's not throwing enough abilities to make it worth it. He's not really putting down chimes. So it would just be a less effective starting item than Guardian's Orb as Philo dashes out.
Jimmy using his E ability, and you know that is really like a one-way street, right? You can go there, but if Riven and Tryndamere decide to turn on them, there's really no going out. Jimmy E's forward once again, resetting, respecting the Bard range and the Tryndamere. E's backward as well.
It's really amusing to know that both Tryndameres are actually using the same skin here. Oh, flash in by Philo! Instant flash out by Bard. He uses the Temper Fate to hit all three of the other members. Waiting for the gold to go down. Jimmy's going to be in there. Philo's fighting back. Jimmy has to pop the L. Philo's low. Jimmy's going for the trade on Philo, but if he dies here, it's going to be game over. Jimmy's stuck under the turret with no HP, and he's going to go down, not even trading back the kill. And Max and Evan will take it by the kill win condition.
And I kind of actually forgot Max and Evan got a kill in the early game. I was like, well, why is he AFK? But of course, we cannot forget that with the early kill secured by Max and Evan, it was kind of a losing gambit for tag team. Very unfortunate for, to kind of lose that kill early so that you can't really play the mind games lately. And, you know, obviously Tryndamere, he is a beast, but he only has one sword and one arm, so you cannot focus two people at once.
Yeah, as you said, even if he did manage to focus and kill down the enemy, Riven there, he would still have gone down. It seems like, as you said, you may have forgot that Max Evan got an early kill as possible. Tag team name also did, trying to go for a 1-for-1, which will just instantly lose them the game.
Yeah, and you know, we can kind of see the. I think we definitely saw the potential for Bard with a huge, two-man stun, the one-man stun with the electrocute, using the chimes. But definitely Riven and Tryndamere are very lethal and very mobile, able to get really quick trades once a skirmish happens, before a Bard can kind of really dish out the damage.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Bard pick. As we had seen previously with tag team names Kiana and LeBlanc comp, that worked out well for them, so I'm not sure why they opted for this more of a strange pick in the Bard. If they opted for something that had more kill pressure, they maybe could have won that early 2v2.
And I'm kind of wondering if they will be switching it up. I think the Tryndamere obviously a pick that came out of nowhere, but has a lot of prior. Tryndamere is picked by both teams, probably for that Undying Rage. I guess it's kind of a get out of free jail card if they can do a fight and Tryndamere lives. That's such a huge benefit for them. So I think that's kind of the merit behind the pick. Obviously, the spin is also giving them a little bit of mobility. So.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, that Undying Rage stalling for those extra key seconds could be the difference maker if you just die later than the other person, get that win or get that kill and win the game there. So definitely a good pick out of it. I do like it a lot.
Yeah, and I hate Tryndamere. Tryndamere used to be my longest ban. When I played solo queue, I would always ban Tryndamere. He was I would hate feeling like I outplayed him and then he presses R and then I guess I didn't outplay him.
Certainly not a fun champion to play against. Also with the new Lethal Tempo, very strong. He can play the crit roulette and sort of just surprise you with the damage. And we are into the next champ select. Max and Evan once again on the red side against tag team names blue side.
And looks like Max and Evan are mixing it up. They're pulling out the Riven Nunu. Interesting pick by, interesting hover by these guys.
Yeah, I'm curious. We're not sure what they banned, but I would have to believe it's something like Lee Sin, Akali, and Kiana. No hovers yet on the side of tag team name, but yeah, like you said, the Riven might be coming out once again.
Right. And do you think Tryndamere was a ban?
It's hard to say since both teams picked it if one team banned and neither team would be able to pick it. But given that Riven Tryndamere worked for Max and Evan and they're not opting for it again, I would have to believe that Tryndamere may have been banned from the side of tag
Right,
team
and
name.
that was a really short-lived Tryndamere Prio era. You know, we had one game where both teams picked Tryndamere, and now he's gone. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I will not miss him.
Yeah, definitely not. The super fun champion to play against. As this is blind pick once again, or since if Tryndamere did get banned, neither team can pick it. So whatever team banned it, definitely believing that they did not have the advantage with that. We can see now tag team is hovering Evelyn and Zed. Zed definitely a strong pick. I'm not too sure about the Evelyn.
Yeah, Evelyn is a champ that gets a lot of merit off her passive camouflage ability into Summoner's Rift. A lot of strong ganking potential, a lot of weird pathing she can do, but in one lane, can she... Oh, and Evelyn is actually locked in, so very, very interesting choice by Marshmallow there. Let's see if they have some dark technology they can pull out. But Evelyn, with a champ that thrives off of stealth, in one lane, I'm not sure, if this is a good pick even.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Like you said, Evelyn is strong when using her stealth to get kills, pick up kills on ganks normally on Summoner's Rift, and get fed like that. In a straight 2v2, relying on, I guess, your starting items to be a strong unit, or a strong champion, I cannot see Evelyn being very effective here.
And I think one thing we have to remember is that, Evelyn is... Maybe we can see the merit of Evelyn into squishy champions, but it is Riven and Nunu. If Evelyn gets into range to try and kind of throw their Q at him, Riven can dash forward with a stun or EOA. Nunu can just eat her, so it's a little bit of a difficult fight for Evelyn. Zed is the highest range character in this game with the WQ combo. But again, Nunu has a lot of sustain, and Riven has the mobility to kind of dodge shuriken. So I think Tag Team definitely needs to finesse this victory from under Max and Evan.
I would certainly have to agree. Like you mentioned, Zed sort of has that pseudo range with the WQ. However, Riven has dashes, one that has a shield, and Nunu has consumed to sort of sustain up the poke that won't be coming out super often. So definitely will be struggling for him. And like you said, Evelyn, if he gets caught by Riven and Nunu, he has no escape until level 6. He could go down very easily and very quickly.
Right, and once the ult come out as well, it's very difficult for Zed and Evelyn to do that much because they are melee characters at the end of the day. And while Evelyn's ult is a very good disengage, kind of Zed's ult is as well, kind of in a 2v2 what we're looking for is execution potential, something to turn the fight with. And I'm not sure if Last Caress and Deathmark are kind of enough for that kind of, like they can run away of course, but to kind of finish the fight it requires Riven and Nunu to be already low. And if Nunu's kind of standing in the middle of a channeling Blizzard, I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. The Nunu channeling Blizzard is going to be a big problem for them. They don't really have any good CC to counter it. Charm takes a while to come out. I can't see them being able to effectively fight 2v2.
Yeah, and I think Riven is definitely a hidden menace with the W, with the E. Good Riven players are like very, very scary, but even if you're not a very good Riven player, into something like Evelyn, if she gets into range of you and you can land the E and you can land the W and you can EOA, doesn't look very favorable.
Yeah, for sure not. And you say even you don't have to be too good of a Riven. We saw Philo last game on the Riven. His mechanics were sound to say the least. So definitely think that there will be a problem for them on the side of tag team name.
Yeah, and I kind of like the Nunu priority that it looks like it's been working, I guess, on the side of Max and Evan. Like it's, it kind of turns ARAM into a bowling alley for the Nunu. And you think a lot of teams kind of would have strategies to counteract that, but it's a little bit difficult for, I guess, even if you see it coming. It looks like the game ended so fast once again, so we're back on the client.
Yeah, looks like we'll have to find out the result of the match from the producers in just a second. But bloodthirsty teams once again finishing the game before we can get past the spectator delay of 3 minutes.
Right, and you have to remember that this is a best of 5, so we still have one game left in us. Even if Max and Evan won again, we will see another game one more time. But even if Max and Evan did win, they kind of look too dominant.
Yeah, for sure, I'd have to agree, and based on our analysis before, I'd have to believe that they did win. I can't see any way that an Evelyn and Zed had get 2 kills that early on.
Tag Team won that one!
And we are proven wrong. Apparently, Tag Team did win that game by getting 2 kills early on with the Evelyn and the Zed into the Nunu and Riven.
You know what? I'll say it right now. I was wrong. We were proven wrong. We talked a lot of poop, and then we had to take it. So I'll take the L here.
Yeah, completely against expectations for both of us. I'm not sure what dark tech the Evelyn might have pulled off, or maybe Max and Evan got too greedy and went for a 2-man dive or something along the lines. But very surprising for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of want to see that game. I don't want to see. I don't know what happened even, but I don't know if there was some dark technology at play. If I don't know if someone screwed up that bad, but 1-1. This is kind of looking like my kind of series. Good League of Legends.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting now. This won't be a complete sweep. Like you said, definitely a shame we can't see what happened. Whether Max 7 got too cocky, possibly. As we've seen from them, they've been very clean. Their mechanics have been very strong. So if they did mess up, it would be sort of due. As no one can be perfect. But soon we'll be jumping into Game 3 of this best of 5.
Yeah, who knew what it took? What it takes, like other teams haven't been able to take off a series off of Max and like a game off of Max and Evan, but who knew that it was Evelyn and Zed?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely strange. Based off the bans, next time we might see if Evelyn was actually the problem. Maybe they'll run it back with the Evelyn and Zed. Maybe something will get banned out. But yeah, surprisingly, Riven and Nunu could not win that one out.
Yeah, and I guess maybe Nunu missed a little bit too much, had a little bit too much fun. Maybe we can only speculate right now, but definitely interesting to see how that would have happened, which is a shame we didn't see.
Anyways, as we saw in your earlier game that you were mentioning, his driving skills were very sound, very skilled, and always hitting the large snowballs. Maybe he went too far under a turret there. Maybe he just wasn't hitting them at all. It's hard to say what happened.
Yeah, there's an interesting statistic actually in driving is that, the people who die most in driving in car accidents aren't new drivers or really old drivers. They're the kind of ones with a little bit of experience, 2-3 years down the line. Those are kind of the most at-risk kind of drivers. So maybe Nunu, had a little bit of experience under his belt, and then he smash into a pole. Who knows?
Yeah, that's fair. Max 7 maybe not piloting that Nunu. Gonna the bit of experience they have get to them and not having it work out.
Yeah, I mean definitely. Nunu was a menace before. He would do the little twirl to build up the snowball and ram it into people's faces. And
yeah,
I think Tag Team actually was victim to that in the first games as well. But it seems like they've kind of improvise, adapt, overcome.
That's a good point to mention. Yeah, the Nunu from Max 7 earlier was against tag team names, so like they did seem to adapt to it. They made a great comeback in the game, however it happened, and yeah, bring the series to a 1-1 in this best of 5.
Yeah, they got the big data building.
Big data. The improvisation, adaptation, and overcome.
Of course, machine learning, big data. They're machines. They're building up the data. They got like Nunu coming at me. I'm gonna pick Evelyn and Zed. They did some analysis on it. I'm sure they had their coaching staff come up behind them and tell them you got to pick this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the coaching staff may be the dark secret here to help them win that game. We're jumping into the next champ select. We're seeing a Kali hovered from both teams, so that champion did not get banned, obviously. Zed on the side of tag team name, and Riven already locked in again from Max and Evan.
We can see that Kali priority, and Kali is a very strong pick on ARAM already because of, I think the damage buffs, I think Kali does have adjustment buffs, and she is very, very strong with his short skirmishes with the W and the Q, and the perfect execution lets her be very, very lethal too with a single target. In a 2v2, focusing a single target is very important, so Kali definitely a good pick for that. Zed is coming out again on the side of Jimmy, looks like.
Yeah, Zed looking like it was part of their success last game. Evelyn not being seen again, so we aren't sure if Evelyn got banned or if they decided that it wasn't going to work this time around. But yeah, like you said, the Akali priority definitely interesting. We keep seeing these champions picked from both teams. It looks like that they have either similar champ pools or that they're sharing secrets.
Yeah, and Zed is locked in.
Yep, Zed is locked in. Riven and Akali locked in from Max and Evan. The last one to lock in is Marshmallow, as we will see what is likely another 3-4 assassin game, all melee. Riven, arguably not an assassin, but definitely does have that burst potential.
Right, and I can see the merit of Zed. People say if there is no, I forgot that quote, but if there's no tiger in the jungle, like the cat is king or something, but something like that. If there's no range character in the game, Zed is king with the shadows. He is very slippery. He's able to W backwards or forwards, land really good trades or escape very easily, and especially into something like Akali and Riven. Zed is kind of also a menace, can I say? Yeah,
for sure. Zed definitely will be making or breaking tag team name with Akali on both sides. Like you said, into Akali on Riven, he might have a bit of trouble hitting those shurikens. Akali with the shroud and with the dashes, Riven also with many dashes. Hitting those shurikens will be key to winning a fight.
Yeah, and I think, if Zed can soften up the Akali and Riven, kind of chunk them out, obviously Riven and Akali. One variable in ARAM, of course, is the mark ability with the snowballs. If they can land those and jump onto Zed, it's a little bit difficult for Zed to win. A very interesting thing about Zed actually on ARAM, with Mark, you can actually leave a shadow behind and just go back to it after you dash forward with the Mark. So maybe that was some technology they were pulling out last game. Who knows? Yeah,
for sure. Get some of that chip damage in and instantly teleport back out with your Mark or with your living shadow W on Zed. Yeah, we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm curious for you as a mid lane player, who do you think is favored in the Zed Akali 1v1?
Ooh, Zed Akali is very, very, it's a weird matchup. But I think Zed is definitely favored in lane as long as Akali does not, it's really hard for an Akali to kind of match up to Zed. I mean, not a lot of assassins can, because that is really oppressive. Once he gets level 3, he can throw out the shadow, and it's so versatile. He can use it to escape, he can use it to go forward. And a lot of times, if you get hit with a E and a double shuriken and proc electrocute, like, there's not much you can do about it in terms of retaliation. It's a very selfish trading pattern, I guess, and
Yeah,
not a lot
for
of characters
sure.
can match that.
Have to agree. We're gonna see how that plays out. A minute 30 until we can get into this game. Hopefully they will not finish each other off too fast once again.
Please.
Yeah, definitely an exciting matchup. I'm curious to see how the fights go down. If they'll be very explosive, I'd imagine. And yeah.
Yeah.
We'll, one more minute until we can hop right into this.
Yeah, and I'm kind of seeing some good mid lane representation. I guess you got the Riven and the top lane representation as well. But ADC has been taking a big L. Support's been taking L's, but mid lanes, my homies are in the game, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is a duo tournament, and I would have expected to see maybe more ball lane representation of what ADC support players playing together. But yeah, we are seeing just double mid laners, double assassins, really of a much more lane dominant combination.
Yeah, and it looks like sending it is key. We thought maybe we go with Caitlyn, maybe we go with Tom Kench, maybe we play safe, but no, sending it is key.
Yeah, for sure, especially with these win conditions where 100 CS or first tier might be a bit far out. Killing the enemy champions is definitely, I guess, more effective, especially when you don't need to worry about a whole mid and late game later on.
Right, and even the game where we got close to the 100 CS, you remember who was getting close to that? It was Akali Kiana.
Exactly. So, hey guys, in terms of CS, which duo combination do you think would have the slight advantage?
I mean, I think definitely the team with Zed has more control. He can CS, like, Riven and Akali have decent wave clear, but they are melee at the end of the day. And Zed is just, if he throws 2 shurikens into the wave, he can control the wave however he wants. I think it's up to, like we said before, Zed to control the outcome of this game.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if Tag Team can once again take a CS advantage against the CS Demons on Max and Evan's side. We'll be hopping into this game very shortly.
Right, and hopefully doesn't end.
Hopefully don't end. Looks like we are getting into game just now, so we will be able to see the duration of this match.
All right, now we have Philo Resteppin, Marshmallow Jimmy, our 4 grand finalists. Guardian items bought on both sides as well. Ruby Crystal for Akali on either Tag Team, and Cloth Armor for Max and Evan.
Yeah, we can see that with the Cloth Armor from Restepping, he will have the potion advantage. However, the armor not effective against Akali and only Zed. Zed opting for the Guardian Sword, which is probably unanimously considered an item that's not as good as Guardian's Hammer, so that's an interesting choice there.
Yeah, and Philo getting a little bit of cardio in, walking over instead of taking the portal, is very important. After COVID, everyone's getting very, putting on a little bit of pounds, so Philo making sure to get his exercise in.
Yeah, for sure, taking a bit longer to get to lane, but getting that exercise is maybe a worthy trade. This is game 3 of this best of 5 between Max and Evan and Tag Team name.
Yeah, and Marshmallow has standing outside of the bush, throws the E, throws the Q, Philo nicely dodges backwards. Oh, and Zed lands a shuriken on Philo, but 1 shuriken does not proc electrocute. Is not going to be too much of a loss.
But yeah, that's the Zed poke you're talking about, getting that bit of damage onto the Riven as the Restep will dash in. Shroud dropped by both Akalis, I believe. Maybe not, it was only 1 Shroud.
Yeah, but it's a little bit confusing with 2 Akalis to see which one, which Shroud is whose. And both the colleagues are throwing Qs blind at each other, so it is very interesting to see, actually.
Yeah, this will be difficult to keep track of. The Living Shadow coming out again from Zed. And Philo actually dashing into the Shuriken, but having with the E shield, so he's not going to take any meaningful damage as he dashes in onto Marshmallow. Yeah,
and a good little trade with the W lance and knocks onto the Marshmallow as well. He's out. The relics are coming back up, though, so it looks like Philo and Restepping, finessing the relic heal as well, walking into Jimmy.
Yeah, that was well played by Max. Restepping dashes back in on the mark too, actually, but comes back out. That was good damage on our Marshmallow from Philo. He actually walked into Philo's Q3.
Yeah, and I think, like we said before, the cooldown to look for is ZW. Restepping did look like it got a good trade on. Oh, it stuns up onto Marshmallow. Throws a Q, but Akali Q really does not do that much damage in the early phase.
Yeah, some good poke onto Marshmallow from Philo there. Both of them have bone plating, but he did get win out the trade in the end. We can see that Max and Evan are the ones pushing in, but with a slight CS disadvantage.
Oh, and a huge stun landing onto Marshmallow, again Restepping dashing in with the E. Shrouds for safety, and Marshmallow taking a lot of damage from both from Riven and Akali. Like they're really going for the focus on this low Akali.
Yeah, they definitely consider the Akali maybe stepping up too far, being the easier target. Philo is making some great plays showing up the Riven mechanics and his decision making, getting free damage onto Marshmallow basically.
And I think Riven and Akali picks are being justified here as Zed shurikens are going wide, and that's not to discount, Jimmy's prowess on Zed. It's just very hard to land shurikens on targets with a mobility ability such as Riven and Akali.
Yeah, some good damage on resetting there, but flash in from Theo is going to go on to Jimmy. Jimmy pops the death mark. Jimmy's low. He's going to go down to re-stepping. Marshall's going to dash back in. Goes for the arch on reset. He's not going to finish off. He's going to get wind slash by Theo, and he's going to be finished off. It looks like it's going to be another 2-0 kill win condition by Max and Evan.
And yeah, that was a big, that was like one big boom type of team fight. It wasn't a little bit skirmish, one death here, come back and like look for a pick. It was actually a big boom, like they fight each other
right on level 6.
And a big boom kind of team fight. It's Zed versus Kali's. They're I think Marshmallow's a bit lower. But it's Zed versus Riven, and Riven obviously with the wind slash and the heightened stats. It's very hard for unless Zed can land all shurikens, all E's with the ignite on one target. It's very difficult for Zed to kind of to beat a Riven without being slippery.
Yeah, for sure. Surprisingly, Jimmy's the first to go down there as the Zed, and Marshmallow actually opting to dash back in to try to trade a kill, which once again, as we've discussed, is not the right play because even if he trades the kill, he's still going to lose the game. Right. So maybe he could have R2 down and saved himself to keep the game going.
Right. And before we hop into the next game, I think that really shows off what we were going to go for. We were talking about for the Riven pick. Riven is a very strong character in the middle lane, not the middle lane, sorry, in the top lane in terms of dueling prowess, and against something like Zed, although Zed is very annoying with the poke, if Riven just presses W, goodbye.
Yeah, it seemed like Riven was actually out poking the Zed in comparison, tag team him on the lower HP going into that team fight as we mentioned. Yeah, definitely not the most effective play out of tag team name.
Yeah, and it looks like I am getting raptured. Looks like God's light is shining down on me right now.
Yeah, it seems like the sun's not too kind to our broadcast right now, but yeah.
I'll kind of own this. It's fashion.
Fashion. So yeah, Max and Evan up 2-1 now in this series. They are on match point for the best of 5 against Tag Team Name. What strategy do you think Tag Team Name will pull out next to try to keep the series going?
I mean, Max and Evan looking like I think a few of the key points that Max and Evan are very good at melee team like infighting, melee like just picking a target and blowing them up, or in a full 2v2 fight. Obviously, a Riven and a Kali is very strong in that. I think what I'd like to see from Tag Team is something that can really something that distorts the meta. Max and Evan are obviously in their comfort zone, going for trades, with their mechanics in their hands. I want to see something that shuts it down. I think Tom Kench actually wasn't a bad pick. Maybe just not with the Caitlyn. I think picks that really shut down, Max and Evan's trading prowess and kind of says, you're playing to my tempo now. I think I'd like to see picks like that.
For sure, I'd like to agree with that. I think Tom Kench is definitely a strong pick, definitely a very beefy champion and hard for an assassin to take down. Do you think the Riven is ban-worthy from Tag Team Name?
I mean, I think, at this point, Riven is definitely ban-worthy. It's been, the prowess has been demonstrated on Riven, and I think it shuts down a lot of what Tag Team is going for. Unless they can pull out a really strong counter pick, I think that is kind of what, would be, smart in my opinion as well. If anyone can pick something against the Riven, that shuts down the Riven, I would suggest, as this may be a little bit of bias, but Set is pretty good into picks like Riven, so maybe something like that would be a smart choice.
Yeah, Set would be a very spicy pick here. Also strong into assassins, being able to be tanky but also deal a lot of damage output when put into melee range. Yeah, also on the next topic is Akali. Do you think that Akali was, which side's Akali do you think was better?
Oh, I mean, definitely, we have to give it to Max and Evan here. Akali, not a character with too much range, so you have to be very careful with it with the Shroud, but it looked like, on tag teams Akali, Marshmallow kind of walked up and took too much damage. Obviously Riven and Akali don't have range, but we keep saying that Mark is an ability that exists in ARAM, and if you take the Mark as Akali, that's an instant stun from Riven, and that's a lot of damage you're going to take. If Riven can try third strike as well, go for the knock-up stun, with a Akali follow-up, very, very lethal. We have to be very careful.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see if Akali is banned out. Like we said, if Akali is banned, neither team will opt for it, but without it being banned, I'm not sure if Tag Team Name can match the Akali or if they opt to pick something else to counter the Akali from the side of Max and Evan.
Yeah, definitely interested to see what happens. Are we going to see bans? Are we going to see different? Are we going to see a different counter pick to Riven? But I would like to see them go to Game 5.
Yep, for sure. Definitely hoping for a Game 5 here, and hopefully they will not finish this game before we can get into it. Champ Select, I believe, should be coming up in just a moment.
Yeah, guys, come on, farm up a little bit, you know? Like, you know, like, do a little bit of short trading. Like.
Yeah, like I said, very bloodthirsty team, so farming up maybe not in their eyes, but definitely a longer game would be nice to see. See maybe a different strategy, a change up to try to fight against the, I guess, kill win condition.
Right. I mean, the win condition, the name of the game is kill so far. We've only seen one game where it almost went to CS, and even that was a kill lane. So.
Exactly.
It is very, you know, it is very hard though. ARAM is a game designed for skirmishing. It's very hard to just say like I'm gonna just not fight you because you kind of can't with the snowballs and the dashes and everything. It's very hard for you to just say
For certain.
like I'm just gonna farm.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the the champion select is on the broadcast. However, we will be getting into the game once the spectator delay is up.
Yeah. I do kind of, you know, have my eyes on Max and Evan. They've been looking very dominant. I really don't know how they lost that game. I would really like to see that replay, especially against Evelyn. You know, like did they actually ban Evelyn? You know?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, we didn't see Evelyn picked down, and also we didn't get to see the only game Max and Evan have lost on broadcast. So curious to see if we can get this one up on the screen. If they can maybe lose again to tag team, or tag team can maybe beat them again, and we see how that goes down.
You know, I'm kind of seeing the potential maybe if Evelyn presses W, you know, lands the charm on someone and goes in with the snowball. Maybe that's you know, to land the charm and run away. Maybe that's a good maybe there's good potential in that game.
Yeah, so it looks like producers are just notifying us now that the game actually did end. However, they're hoping that someone stays in it so that we can get into it and see how that went down.
Please. I would like to see League of Legends.
Yeah, I would also like to cast some League of Legends, see how it goes down. It looks like tag team name actually won again, so it would be really nice to see how that went down.
But we'll definitely have to see. I mean, if this goes to Game 5, you know, I'm not the most unhappiest person in the world. I'm a pretty happy cookie if it goes to Game 5. So.
I'd have to be a happy cookie with you. That would be very exciting.
Let's see the results, though. It looks like tag team won.
Yep, I believe. It was another quick win, so it looks like they're still opting for the kill each other strategy, not really trying to play safe or play slow. Really curious how that went down once we can get that on the broadcast.
Yeah, but if the bracket is reset, if Team Tag Team really won and the bracket was reset, I'd be very interested to see. You know, there's 5 more games, right? I mean, like if Tag Team managed to pull out the next win, there's 5 more games after that.
Up to 5, yes.
Up to 5, yes. And I would be very interested to see what kind of picks that are picked after. They're kind of, you know, these guys are basically scrimming each other. You know? They're like, you know, like, yo, you pull out this, I pull out that, right? So, and it looks like tag team is very good at machine learning, you know, adapting to the enemy strats as well. So we'll definitely have to see.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. We can see that the meta between just these two teams developing as they adjust their strategies to try to take the games off each other. And we are going to be getting into game. We can see that tag team name opted for Zaya Sejuani against Max and Evans, Yasuo, and Draven.
And very, very interesting. You know, this is something that, you know, these 4 picks are picks that we've never seen before, actually. Sejuani, obviously, as a counter to melees. Sejuani is very powerful once she can get the E off. And while it's very difficult against ranged characters, Max and Evan have been picking out the full send pick, so Sejuani is a pretty good counter, especially with the Aftershock. Gives her good trading potential, and Zaya is an ADC that has a lot of disengage. One of the only ADCs I would say, which is that you kind of justified in picking.
Yeah, once he hits 6, unlucky that he picked it into a Yasuo with the wind wall, but still not the worst pick. Jimmy, as you said, on the Sejuani can be the difference maker, and Philo picking the Draven, the first ranged champion for Max and Evan, although still on the full send side of the spectrum.
Right, and Draven I think is a pretty interesting pick as well, like we mentioned. Very, very strong fighter with Hail of Blade, and the potential to execute once he has the stack stuff. He also can interrupt the Sejuani engage with his axe throw. So very interesting. Yasuo, I think Yasuo will have to be used on. Oh, it's going to trade onto the Sejuani there.
Windwall's going to go backwards. It's not going to block the E2. Re-stepping's already going low. Is he going to be able to live? He goes on a march mode. It's going to go down. Taken out by Jimmy. Philo flashing in on the Zaya. Zaya has barrier. Going to flash out. He's going to trade the kill, but he's now low. Being chased by the Sejuani. Stand aside, just try to stall some time, but Jimmy with the Sejuani is going to finish off the kill there.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of oopsie on the side of re-stepping there. You know, the Yasuo pick with the wind wall, he was very confident in, you know, getting good trade out with the, like, throwing out the wind wall, you know, blocking the Sejuani E actually, and that is a projectile, and blocking the Zaya feathers. But it looks like he made a little bit of oopsie, you know, trading into the Aftershock Sejuani and he kind of dashes into the turret, into the enemy turret range. Not the turret range, but towards the enemy turret, which kind of forces him to stay there. And with a carry like Xayah, like throwing feathers at you, and your Yasuo, the only thing you can do is kind of not too much potential to fight back there. And,
yeah, for sure.
And Xayah has the barrier as well, to kind of stall out Draven, forcing him to flash forward. And it is a Draven, but it is a Sejuani in the early game as well.
Yeah, Philo may be getting a bit baited by the barrier, not knowing that the Xayah had it. Going in there trying to trade the kill is going to get him killed once again. The same problem we've seen before of trying to trade a kill when you're already down one, you will lose the game.
Yeah, and Yasuo, Yasuo Draven very, very strong, bot lane kind of like, old bot lane kind of vibes with the Yasuo, jumping in on the enemy. But Sejuani, a very nice pick, like I think we were talking about what kind of answer Team Tag Team can pull out to the full set, and the answer seems to be Aftershock Sejuani.
Yeah, the Sejuani pick looking super strong. They're not even going very low and still dishing out very good damage, very effective in these the melee champions, as we said. Oh yeah, and we'll be jumping into the next game as broadcast will try to set it up. Yeah. And I'm going to be joined by my new co-host Luigi. Pleasure to have you on the
Actually, I'm Puffball.
You're Puffball? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Puffball decided to have a change of outfit.
Yeah, I just came back from plastic surgery. I look different. I may have been built differently, as they might say. So this is not my usual look, but I am here now, and
Yeah,
this
it's
is
a
what we're
pleasure
working
to
with.
have you. You're looking great with your new look.
Of course. Drip it out in the yellow. Waterloo Warriors. Oh, that's the wrong side. You know how we do it. The flip camera, kind of tripping me off. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's okay, out here representing. Okay, so we're going to see the Sejuani and Xayah once again from the same tag team name. What do you think about this champion select, Puffball?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Sejuani Xayah a little bit of a counter synergy. It's like, well, not even counter synergy. It's just more like, it's Sejuani.
He's a melee champion.
Yeah, like Sejuani's passive will typically, you can get the stacks faster for her E stun if you have a melee champion, because melee auto attacks will also give you the stacks.
Right. The stun
And
stacks.
Anyways, yeah. So pairing it with Xayah, interesting choice, but I can also kind of see that, like, if you think about from the perspective of Xayah, being able to have that sort of like that CC tank to help peel you and also like slow them down so that you can stack the feathers into the right place to root them, get your damage off, get roots off, lets you get more autos off. It is like an okay choice to have. And also Sejuani is one of those champions that isn't blocked by minions, so like, you could just be like, oh, just pick Nautilus then or something. But like, you know what? Sejuani doesn't care. No minions? Yasuo can't block this, man. I guess he has Windwall, but like,
Well, yeah, the Sejuani indeed does not care, like we saw in the last game. They're actually running back the same champs like Draven, Yasuo again from the side of Max and Evan. What do you think needs to be done differently for Max and Evan to pull this one out?
Can we not die when minions spawn, guys? We can make this game last a little bit longer than that, surely. I do remember last game though. However, there was kind of like a Yasuo Windwall interaction where when the what was it? Whatever Xayah's E is called, it's like blade, feather call, feather recall or something. Anyways, the feather call, feathers came in, hit Yasuo straight through his Windwall. I thought that was kind of strange because he was standing in the middle of it, and I guess it must have just been clipping his hitbox. I think if that went a little bit differently, either if he saved the wind wall or if just like, I guess it behaves the way they probably expected it to, it would have been a lot different. But to be honest, Yasuo against Xayah Sejuani has a lot of tools he can do to outplay. Playing around this wind wall is going to be very crucial to seeing if they win or not. So I guess, yeah, like that's the main thing. It's just like this wind wall usage is the most probably critical part of this composition. It can like make or break their skirmishes.
Yeah, for sure. 100% have to agree with you. That wind wall interaction in that first game was a bit strange. Not sure, yeah, like you said, if it clipped through it or if it just wasn't working due to a bug or whatever. But yeah, that Yasuo wind wall will be making or breaking these skirmishes. And like you said, also hoping it goes to level 6 at least.
Yo, bro, come back.
Puffball is going to go back to his plastic surgery. It seems like he did not like his new look, so we will be returning to his original. And welcome back for the second time, Puffball.
Hello, everybody.
So we will actually be running back the champs line. I'm curious if you have any new thoughts based on different than what you said before.
Oh, I mean, definitely, like Draven Yasuo, we saw the potential. I think it was just a little bit of a slip up on the side of the Yasuo there that kind of decided the early fight. So we definitely have not seen, the potential of both of these picks. Xayah, probably the best disengage ultimate from the ADC in the game, in terms of like if you have people running at you, you kind of want to be the Xayah, right? And Sejuani is also a very good pick. If you get the aftershock off, if you fight people, if you trade people during your aftershock, then it's it's like having bone plating, right? It's like having a very good trade tool. And I think we've yet to see the potential. I think Windwall, again, like I said before, is kind of the tool to look out for. It blocks Sejuani ult, Sejuani E, Xayah feathers, and the auto attacks. So I think how he also uses that Windwall is going to be kind of the deciding factor in this game.
Absolutely, and you have a great mention of the Xayah ult being a great disengage. We did not see the last game go to level 6, so hopefully this one goes the distance at least. And we will be jumping into the Howling Abyss in just a second here.
Yep, and I think Draven, also a very interesting pick. One of the strongest early fighting ADCs in the game, and if he can maintain that, if he can maintain his axes, then definitely kind of stays a lethal threat. Definitely for PC. What summoners they pick as well.
Yep, juggling the axe is definitely the mechanical difficulty to Jim. It looks like the summoners will be the same from both sides, so they are truly running back game 4.
And we can see that restepping cannot easily take the Yasuo thing in because of, Sejuani, obviously, the Q. Oh, Xayah popping the W, Windwall is thrown out as well. Looks like Marshmallow gets a root onto a Yasuo. Beside the Windwall, very impressive.
Yeah, some okay damage onto Yasuo there. The Windwall not being so effective, as you said, having that as a key ability. Looks like they will stand back, wait for the minions to come over here.
Oh, and a nice trade onto Draven as well from Marshmallow. It's ARAM. Mana is kind of important as well, but Marshmallow, opting to trade early, so maybe he gets the regeneration back.
Yep, for sure. Definitely some good poke to get down early on. Restepping standing very far back, and Max Stem, it looks like they're letting it get pushed into them as Marshmallow cues the way to Xayah, and also ease it as well, looking for to shove it early.
I want to remember that Yasuo does need minions to dash to if he's in a fight. If he's just standing, 10 meters away from someone without any minions, he is kind of a sitting duck. So we're gonna have to see how restepping manages to land the re-engages onto Marshmallow and Sejuani, because I think Xayah is just fine saying you come to me. It's like a landmine strat, but although there are no landmines, physical landmines, there are feathers.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something the side of Max 7 needs to watch out for is that feather placement. They don't want to get rooted by a big E from the side of Xayah.
Yeah, and Draven is getting the farm up. He is getting those adoration stacks. Yasuo, all he can do kind of is build up NATO and throw it at the enemy every third Q, but...
Yep, for sure. Looks like they might be playing for level 6. Max 7 grabbing that relic early for no gain as they were both already fully HP. Jimmy's going to go engage onto the Yasuo though.
And Sejuani pops the aftershock, and the Windwall does not block the E from Sejuani. Xayah is flashing forward. Draven is, however, chunking down the Xayah. Philo is picking up all of the axes as Snowball lands back onto the Yasuo. Barrier is popped. Now Sejuani is absolutely grinding down Draven as well. But we have to remember, Sejuani flashes forward with the Q. However, the E cooldown is not back yet, so the stun is not going to go onto the Philo. Both teams very, very low.
What a crazy fight. All summoners burned except for Draven's flash. Both teams, like you said, going low, but no one going down. Another great barrier bait by Marshmallow. Philo probably thought he would get the kill there, did not commit the flash, but did not. Flash in by Jimmy back on a Philo was not the most effective, cannot finish him off.
And that was very, very sharp on both teams, seeing the opportunity, using the killer instinct to jump into each other, Sejuani re-engaged with the flash, Draven kind of hiding the Sejuani and Xayah around, Xayah forced the barrier and run away, but very, very interesting as well.
Yeah, having both backed up and grabbed their inner relics, the teams are now both about equally healthy, around 80% HP, Max 7 a bit lower, however.
Yeah, and restepping, the Yasuo Windwall was used kind of early again, but, that is also good on the side of the tag team to kind of bait out that Windwall before the fight happens, so very good.
Yeah, Philo a bit lower on mana, definitely has less mana economy compared to the Xayah. And they're once again pushed under turret.
And farm looking pretty even again, Xayah with 23 CS, as expected. It is an ADC, and Draven and Yasuo kind of splitting the CS. If the game's looking slow, every CS, it's like every CS is gold. You gotta treat that really, really carefully.
Yeah, for sure. I see that both teams now hit 6, 7 actually on the side of Xayah. We'll see if it's an engage. Jimmy missing his Q, not deciding to commit to anything more.
Right, and Sejuani, not a huge threat until you get that aftershock off and you manage to land that bola on somebody. And even then with the Yasuo wind wall, it is going to be kind of difficult. But if Sejuani is in your face, you kind of have to throw a wind wall. Snowball is land onto Xayah if she's going to take this snowball.
Looks like he will not, knowing that the CC from Sejuani plus the ult from Xayah will probably not net him a kill. They are once again backing up to their inner relic as the side of tag team name will be shoving in.
Yeah, and they seem pretty content with letting the wave push into the turret. Looks like the wave is coming back. There are more minions on the side of tag team, so the wave is going to push into Max and Evan, especially with the Xayah doing some CS.
Yeah, as you said, the CS is very even. This could be a close one if it comes down to the wire. The CS, or Jimmy looking for an engage, hits the Q, hits the W, but will not be committing further. Windwall's going to come out for not much.
And
Great trade from the side of tag team.
And like we said before, the wind wall is such a key tool because it blocks the E, it blocks the ult. Sejuani, just because he landed a good stun does not mean that you can just instantly send it in with the Xayah. Because if they throw all their abilities into a wind wall, then Draven is going to clean them up.
Absolutely. So they'll be shoved in once again. Big wave here. Maybe they'll opt for a dive, trying to get some good turret damage here. Maybe they'll play for the turret link initially.
Yeah, and Sejuani Flash is coming up again. Summoners are almost even. Yasuo wind walls lands the ult.
Oh, Sejuani under turret. Also trying to under turret. Draven's going to try to go for it. He's going to get the first blood. Restepping flashes out, or barely managed to live. Can Marshmallow trade the kill onto Philo? Philo flashes out. Marshmallow flashes in. Barriers a turret shot. Restepping and Philo both 0 HP. Marshmallow has a bit more.
Marshmallow lands the Q.
Philo goes down. It's a 1-for-1, but Restepping has next to 0. Marshmallow's going for the kill on the turret.
The turret going to Restepping has to jump in. Does he have wind wall? The passive shield is knocked down by the feathers as well. If Marshmallow lands an auto attack, it's GG.
Both the turret and Restepping will go down at the same time to the Xayah, and tag team name will take the best of 5.
Well, I mean, that's a double dub, got the turret and the kill.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was a close one for sure. Both forcing Restepping's hand to go in, otherwise the turret would have gone down. So once again, a catch-22 where Max and Evan are on the back foot.
Yeah, and the thing about having Draven and Yasuo as well is that Xayah with lethal tempo activated outranges both of them significantly. If the fight goes long, if the fight is dragged on, it looks like everyone's on their last legs. It's the person with the most range that's going to come out on top, and we kind of see that in action. We get the Sejuani is taken down early, but Draven and Yasuo, obviously with a lethal tempo Xayah, very hard to match up, especially if they're both low.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point with the lethal tempo, managing to outrange and out DPS the hail of blades from the side of Draven. So in these elongated fights, it's definitely getting more value out of it.
Right. Very, very well played from both teams. It was very close.
That was a very close one. Max and Evan almost, I guess, clutching it back after training the kill on the Sejuani. Great ult from the Yasuo onto Sejuani, actually catching her under turret.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the engage from. I really like the idea from both sides with the Sejuani saying, "Oh, the wind wall is out. I'm gonna start the engage now. I'm gonna start the fight now." So then my Xayah can kind of free deal after the wind wall goes down. And the great idea from Yasuo as well, saying, I'm actually gonna just ult forward in and burst down the Sejuani. Even if she is a tank, her aftershock's down. Yasuo actually gives you armor penetration after it casts. So good ideas from both teams. Could have gone either way.
Like you said, absolutely great look there, and it was close, but it will be going to tag team name. So as tag team name was coming up from the loser bracket, although they win that best of 5, they will be playing now a second best of 5 to determine the winner.
And it looks like I got my wish.
Yeah, that is true. You got your wish. We were getting some great League of Legends. And it seems that while the team set up for the second best of 5, they'll be taking a short break. So we'll be right back for the grand finals between tag team name and Max and Evan. Any final thoughts?
Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to Duo Duels as we come into our grand finals between Tag Team Name and Max and Evan. I'm Divine Muffin joined by Puffball, and we will be co-hosting this grand finals for you as we wrap up who the winner will be.
And looks like I got my wish. I was hoping that the bracket reset, we see some meta reads, some meta counters. We get a bracket reset, and I got my wish.
Yeah, so we'll see what they come out for in this new best of 5 for it all. The prize pool is $200, so they'll be playing for the larger cut of that amount, and we're seeing the same champions hovered as in the last 2 games.
Now, I think this kind of means that Philo and Restepping are kind of saying, this wasn't the problem with our champions, or our read on the meta is correct. It's just that our execution wasn't good enough, and we kind of see the justification for that in the last game. We had 2 people alive on the side of both Draven and Yasuo. It was just that after the fight ended, Xayah landed some nice, outplays with the lethal tempo, and it was kind of unfortunate, that, she kind of lived even on that much HP. But this is actually Restepping saying, Restepping is saying that, actually, I'm going for the Nunu, something that, like Max and Evan Classic, the Nunu Riven versus Sejuani Xayah, kind of the if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of approach.
Yeah, so it looks like they agree. They agree that the Yasuo plus the Draven was not the greatest pick here, so they're instead opting back to the Riven and Nunu. Notably, they did lose with this earlier against Tag Team Name as well, against what was the Evelyn and Zed?
Yes.
Zed, yes. However, we'll see how Matt fares in this matchup against the Sejuani Xayah.
Yeah, and I am very interested again because in a way it seems like Riven and Nunu are, into Sejuani. How are they going to fare into Sejuani, right? If you can get onto Xayah, obviously that is the dream scenario. But if Sejuani is just saying, no, I'm in the way, right? Like, how are they going to kind of get past Sejuani with the Aftershock, with the stuns? I'm kind of interested to see how Nunu is going to be able to do that.
Yeah, great point. Sejuani is going to be acting as a wall for that Xayah, really trying to block any engage from Riven and Nunu, tanking up the damage and hoping that Xayah can cut them down before he goes down himself. We'll have to see if Riven and Nunu have the damage for this.
And again, I think the saving grace that, like Max and Evan are going for is the mark, with a snowball.
Right.
If Riven lands a snowball on Xayah, she can just instantly land a stun and get a really good trade-off. And Nunu with the snowball can follow up as well. So I'm very interested to see how this goes.
Yep, for sure. It's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully it goes the distance so that we can get into the game before the spectator delay times out right here. But yeah, Sejuani and Xayah definitely seems like Tag Team Name have found their combo with these 2 picks.
Yeah, I mean they look very comfortable. Like the other games, it was close, but they never looked like they were kind of like scrambling or panicking. They look kind of like they found their stride. They say, Sejuani, I'm the tank. I'm gonna trade while Xayah throws her feathers, and if they come in on me, I'm gonna call the feathers back.
Yeah, for sure. It's curious also what Max and Evan decided to ban, as they did not hit either the Xayah or the Sejuani. They decided that there are other picks that are probably more threatening. And yeah, also noting that the Riven did come back out despite not being there the previous games. Maybe Tag Team Name was the one that changed their bans up if Riven was something they banned previously.
And although this is blind pick, but this is Max and Evan basically should know that it is Sejuani Xayah that is going to come out on the side of Tag Team because they've played it 3 games in a row now. And this is kind of them saying, I bet this is kind of them saying this is the answer, right? I kind of think there's a little bit of comfort to that too. Philo looked very comfortable on the Riven, and Restepping have been playing Nunu to great success. So I think this could be them saying, we like these picks, we're comfortable on these picks, and we can outplay you.
Yeah, absolutely a great point. Like you said, leaving Xayah and Sejuani open, possibly knowing that this new combination will be the one to defeat it. Even if it doesn't work, we still have at least 2 more games to go in this series.
Right, and I think that if Max and Evan end up losing this game, we are definitely going to see a Sejuani or Xayah ban. I think that is enough in terms of reading the meta. You can just say I'm not going to participate.
Yeah, for certain. So hopefully we'll be getting into this game in just 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm kind of interested to see what summoners were taken as well.
Yep. As we know, Max and Evan love opting for the double mark, while Tag Team Name tend to opt for a heal or a barrier on the Xayah normally, plus a mark on the Sejuani.
Right, and characteristically that makes sense as well because you want to have good combat sums for infighting for Sejuani and Xayah, while Max and Evan is all about getting in up close and personal.
Yeah, for sure. And that barrier really paying dividends. Honestly, it's been really effective in both games, both wins now for the Xayah.
Yeah, the barrier. It's good that you bring that up because the barrier has been really, really crucial to the victories. It's very good in short trades as well. If you're going to take a lot of damage, you can just pop barrier and rotate the cooldown. Otherwise, in an all-in skirmish, barrier is a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah, we'll see if Max and Evan are going to play around that cooldown this time, as we jump into the Howling Abyss in just a second here.
Yep.
Oh, and we're already into a fight. Marshmallow getting engaged on by the Riven and the Nunu. He's going to go low. Jimmy.
Welcome to the Howling Abyss.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Go back up.
Yeah, Jimmy and this, Marshmallow actually getting jumped on. I bet that was the Riven. As you can see, the summoners are down on both on the sides of Philo and Marshmallow. I bet that was a Riven landing the mark into a stun. So Giovanni trying to peel. Oh, and re-stepping, doing his classic snowball. Is he gonna be able to land a strike? No, into the gutter.
That was a close one. Marshmallow having to dodge back. And it looks like both teams will be waiting for the minions to come up as they reset here. Zaya notably having to pop all her potions.
Right, and you see the re-stepping, you know, like in the back push, and he's obviously going for another snowball. Now these are actually really, really hard to avoid, even if you see it coming. You see another snowball coming into out of the vision. Giovanni is knocked up, although the aftershock is not popped because he has not landed CC. And Nunu and Riven landing really, really good trade. I think this is kind of the comfort zone for Max 7. This is kind of what they're going for.
Yeah, for sure. Zaya trying to, or managing to trade a bit of damage back, but it looks like with the consumed heal, Nunu and Riven do come out on top as re-stepping is rolling another ball.
He's going again. Huge knock up onto Sejuani. That's gonna be, and he's gonna be saying, you know, like, I'm satisfied. You know, I got a little knock up, and I got a little bit of damage, and I'm gonna back up, and I'm gonna rotate my cooldown.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some good damage. This isn't a Guardians or Nunu. He does have a bit of AP to do some more damage. Tag team name will be pushed under turret here.
Yeah, the relic is spawning. Philo going for a little bit of trade with the EQ forward. All 4 players gonna get that in. Obviously, that is good. All for the side of Max and Evan getting that relic advantage.
For sure.
And you know, I have my money that re-stepping is going to go back in with the big snowball.
I'd have to agree with you.
This
Here
time
it
it's coming
comes.
out of vision. Sejuani is knocked up again. The aftershock is not popped. Jimmy is being melted down with a quick trade. However, the root lands onto Philo. Ignite is popped as well. The stun goes down, and that means that Philo is going to go down. Re-stepping is running for the hills now as Jimmy hot on his tail. The E has not been popped yet. E is popped. Stun goes down. Marshmallow takes the final kill. Very, very good game.
It looks like tag team name might have Max and Evan's number, winning 3 in a row with the Zaya Sejuani. Max and Evan may have to change up their strategy, undefeated up until the grand finals, but now facing some adversity.
Yeah, and it really, really looks like tag team have found their, you know, the answer. You know, if you're gonna keep coming on to me, I'm just gonna throw Zaya at you. I'm gonna throw Sejuani at you. Like, you know, looks very, very comfortable. I think it is on now. The ball is in Max and Evan's court to kind of change something up. I do believe that with this, they will think that, you know, it's not, you know, this isn't working.
Absolutely, and I have to agree with you. Hopefully they change up their strategy, maybe ban either one or both of Sejuani and Zaya. I think both of them have looked very strong and are both problematic to deal with. So ideally, I'd like to see both of them banned, leaving up whatever else that they hadn't banned before. But we'll have to see what strategies are changed up here.
Yeah, you know, what do you think? Are we thinking Kiana? Are we thinking Akali? You know?
Yeah, I think that with these games have been definitely a lot more differently played when it's a tank plus an ADC and not the assassins we've seen before. The assassins were definitely exciting, and like you said, with a really big boom explosive team fight. So it'd be really fun to see maybe back to an assassin game. We'll see how they play that out. I think that is Max and Evan's comfort zone.
And in a way, I think it's kind of poetic justice that Max and Evan, you know, absolutely wiped the floor in the Tom Kench Caitlyn game with the Nunu. But this is, you know, they're saying, tag team is saying, you know, like, this is an ADC and a tank combo, but, you know, a little bit of an upgraded version. I think Zaya is definitely more justifiable than a Caitlyn. You know, Caitlyn does not have too much proactive disengage. She has the net and the traps, but nothing like Zaya does with her, like, zone control with the feathers.
For sure. Zaya definitely looking better than the Caitlyn here. It's definitely something that Max and Evan are going to have to find an answer for, if not just ban it.
Yeah, and I think Sejuani is actually a really interesting decision they made that seems to be working out. It's like, you know, Sejuani with the aftershock, you know, with the aftershock with the CC, very tanky and actually does a surprising amount of damage. So
absolutely, Jimmy looking very comfortable on the Sejuani, piloting it to a T as we get into the next champ select. Looks like Nunu not being banned on the side of tag team name as Re-stepping hovers it once again.
Yeah, and you know, Aatrox, interesting pick. Interesting hover from Philo, and Aatrox, I guess, is a very, very powerful 2v2 character, you know. Also very lane dominant, you know, as a top laner you should know, but a good Aatrox is really, really annoying to play against. If he can land those sweet spots, and if he pops the ult and goes in for the kill, if he lands a really good third Q, a second Q, onto the side of tag team, this could be very, very lethal.
Yep, definitely oppressive on the Aatrox, especially into melee champions. So these will be new picks from the side of Max, and they decide to lock the Aatrox plus the Akshan. And as we can see, just now tag team name was hovering Sejuani, so it's possible that was not banned.
Yeah, and you know, I wonder if tag team is now saying that, you know, like they're reading Max and Evan. They're saying like, you're not gonna play Yasuo Draven again. You're not gonna play, you know, like the picks you've been playing. So I'm gonna kind of change it up as well, which could be interesting mind games. And you know, kind of the Max and Evan are kind of saying that. You know, they're saying I'm gonna play Aatrox and Akshan, and I think Akshan is actually really, really interesting here because, you know, Is he gonna revive someone?
That is true. That I could revive passive, but it turns out it will not be Aatrox or Akshan, as we see Sejuani and Zaya picked once again by tag team name against a Draven and a Nunu.
Yeah, and I think maybe Draven is a little bit more justifiable here because we've been seeing Maxon having a lot of problems with Zaya's range. So maybe Draven is the answer to, I'm going to melt down your Sejuani while you melt down my Nunu.
Absolutely.
With the Hail of Blazes. Maybe Draven can do that faster.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works. Sejuani probably tankier than Nunu, especially if Nunu doesn't take that Aftershock. Like you've been mentioning, Aftershock is a huge asset for the Sejuani's tankiness. I'm also curious to see if the Draven decides to take Lethal Tempo, maybe, that having costed them the game possibly in the 2 games prior.
Right, and I think Zaya Sejuani is, like we keep saying, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it's clearly working for them, and I think, into something, even just a Nunu, anything with engage, anything that has to go close to you is fodder, I guess, in a way to Zaya. And I think it's interesting that Max and Evan are just not, in a way, respecting this. There's a lot of disrespect coming out here. They're saying, I can answer you. I don't have to change anything up. We'll see what you can do.
Yeah, definitely maybe a bit of an ego letting the Sejuani Zaya go through. Again, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But from the side of Max and Evan, if it is broke, maybe try to fix it. But instead, no, they're countering it, this time trying the Draven Nunu.
One thing I do wonder is that, what are they banning if it's not Sejuani Zaya? Is it going to be the picks that have been playing, tag team have been playing before? Like something like Evelyn and Zed. I mean, we saw the hover, so it's maybe not that. I'm just kind of wondering what they've been banning. Yeah,
for sure. Definitely curious. Unfortunately, we do not have access to that information, but certainly am curious if there maybe is some one trick that we're not aware of that they're constantly needing to ban, or they really just respect picks like the Kiana and the Akali.
Yeah, and Sejuani Zaya, clearly, I would not want to be on the receiving end of that if I'm a melee character.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. Sejuani Zaya is looking very strong. We'll see if they can take a second game in this best of 5. It's 1-0 for tag team name right now.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is that Nunu has actually, I don't know if it's a little bit of a bias, but I think Nunu has been working out pretty well. Even if you see the snowball coming, it's very hard to react to, and it does a lot of damage. Nunu can just run away after, and if you land it onto a squishy, it is very lethal. But I don't know if Nunu is actually a hidden kind of, is Nunu a win factor or a hidden loss factor?
Yeah, that's a great point. Like we said earlier, might have been a win factor, but with your driving analogy, maybe the Nunu's not working out so much anymore, being figured out, getting into more crashes that aren't so favorable.
Yeah, and Nunu obviously needs a little bit of follow-up from his team. He can land the initial burst, he can land the CC, but without 6, he does not have too much self-sustain to go off of, after, in terms of damage after, fight breaks out.
For sure. 20 seconds before we can get onto the Howling Abyss and see how this game is playing out.
And I don't mind because the games have been going a little bit longer than before. It's not a 100 CS turret kind of game, but it's still interesting.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. I think in the long game, playing to 100 CS, playing to turret, I think it does favor Zaya Sejuani, as we saw earlier as well, where they did basically win with killing the turret.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how that plays out. Hello us. But we'll be jumping into the game very shortly. Hopefully we see another very, very good game from both teams.
Just a second as we get onto not Summoner's Rift, excuse me, Howling Abyss.
Howling Abyss, they changed that recently, They got the Hextech gates now.
Yeah.
The ARAM Clash.
ARAM Clash was fun. Notably, the turrets also fall over, although not relevant in this duoduels 2v2, where once the turret goes down, the game would have been over.
Yeah, if the turret falls on someone, can that fall on someone?
I think it just displaces them.
It displaces
because the closest side they're on, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool if it just fell off and crushed them.
That'd be hilarious if you could get some kills like that. But yeah, we have tag team name Max Evan coming on to the Howling Abyss. Both teams not playing too far forward as Nunu tries to roll a snowball blind into the bush.
That's pretty good strategy. You throw the big snowball into the bush. They have to clear out if they're in there. Restepping clearly knows his Nunu.
Minions have spawned.
Experience with the Nunu. Notably, Restepping has Phase Rush and Exhaust this game. Maybe a bit different than what he's been taking previously. Also, Philo did take Lethal Tempo on the Draven and match Zaya's Lethal Tempo.
And Zaya is in that second bush, but it is really hard for Nunu to kind of say I bet you're in there, because if he misses the snowball, that's one really crucial ability for a trade down, and Zaya with her range can melt down the Nunu, so he's got to be very careful.
Yeah, for sure. Restepping, rolling another snowball up.
And perfectly in time with the level up lands the blow onto Sejuani. Quick trade, nice amount of damage.
Yeah, Philo getting nervous. They're not going for additional auto attacks. I'm not sure if he thought he would get flashed on, but he had to stand aside if he wanted to disengage the Sejuani Q.
Yeah, and Sejuani is very, you know, I guess oppressive in the way that like she has so much CC when she sticks onto you. She can knock you up and like land the E and but the Nunu Snowball is coming down again. Nunu just cleared the wave. Dash is fast by Sejuani forward. She cannot be slowed, however, so Nunu is going to be unable to slow her and root her for Raven.
Yep. Not too much damage traded over. Both teams playing it fairly slow for now.
And this time, no relic advantage for the side of Max and Evan. Sejuani Zaya going to secure the relic. He's rolling again.
Here comes restabbing. Same play over and over. Is it going to work this time? It doesn't even hit the Sejuani, actually. Just getting a bit of minion damage.
Yeah, and you can just clearly see that Sejuani is just saying, you know, I'm gonna like stand aside, Zaya. You know, I'm your simp. You know, I'm gonna stand in front of you. I'm gonna take that snowball for you.
Yeah, really protecting the Zaya well. Tag team name playing this dual combination very well.
Yeah, and
They look to farm it up a bit.
And CS looks like it's on the side favoring Marshmallow again, which makes sense. Zaya is a traditional area carry with a lot of range, a lot of wave clear. Restepping. Do I even have to say it?
Here he comes again. Hits the snow. Actually cancels the Q from Jimmy. Jimmy trying to Q through the snowball. Not sure what he was thinking there. It gets canceled. I'm going to be pushed in a bit by tag team name.
But we can definitely see that Philo is scared of the Sejuani dash forward because it is so lethal. Once Sejuani gets that stun on you, Zaya can actually follow up with a root and have a lot of damage, huge damage. So Philo often channeling the Blood Rush to go backwards away from the Sejuani. Both teams hitting 6 damage.
Yeah. Tag team name pushing in. Max and Evan trying to farm it out under turbo. Restep is actually prepping another snowball.
Snowball is rolling back. Marshmallow and Jimmy, however. Oh, two-man knockup. Not too much follow-up from the side of Drain. The Tail of Blade goes on. Ultimate is channeled from the side of Drain. Sejuani is melting down, but flashes backwards. Zaya is exhausted in the whirling death. Taking out the Jimmy. Marshmallow has nowhere to go now. She is just the Zaya with no movement ability. The feathers come back, but unfortunately, you cannot catch both Draven and Nunu with the feathers, and clean 2v2.
Yeah, huge win there by Max 7, actually making the Nunu work out with a huge double knockup to start off the fight. And yeah, Sejuani just getting taken down, not tanky enough to survive the burst.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely an example of, you know, Max and Evan saying, you know, we got it. You know, like we got it figured out. You know, they got a good engage with a Nunu knockup, and while, you know, like, and while Nunu is, you know, very, you know, difficult to pilot, you know, before 6, you know, he has a clear answer. After he lands Snowball, after 6, he can say, you know, I'm going to Snowball, Root, all very clear-cut combo, you know, very good for forcing out flashes, and, you know, especially for some characters like, you know, Sejuani and Zaya, who is pretty low range before lethal tempo pops, a very good answer.
Yeah, as we saw right there, working out, the Draven ult coming down to secure the kill, and then just chasing down the Zaya. Almost had a small turn chance there, maybe with the big feather call, but not enough. And yeah, I'm honestly surprised that the Nunu was working out, just trying to keep rolling the snowball over and over, and it just works out.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, you can see it coming. What can you do about it?
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, they know it's coming. Still worked for them, though. Or
Yep.
still worked against tag team name.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to see maybe is that, you know, Sejuani go for a more committed kind of, you know, like snowball, like tanking kind of role, because we saw that, like, you know, both Zaya and Nunu Zaya and Sejuani got knocked out by that snowball, which theoretically should never happen. You know, I think both of them were kind of going for the, oh, should we dodge this, you know, or should I
Right.
take this, and, you know, kind of led to an unfortunate situation. So I would like to see a little bit more commitment, I guess, from Sejuani there.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, it worked out well when Sejuani was acting as that body to block it. When she doesn't, like you said, didn't commit to it so far, it gets both of them knocked up, and they lose the fight off that. So now it will be 1-1 in this best of 5 between tag team name and Max and Evan.
Yeah, and the dynamic gets interesting once more because, you know, what's their answer now? You know, is tag team gonna run it back, or do they say, you know, we can pull this off too? You know, we just screwed up a little bit, or are they gonna say, you know, like, now it's time to pull out, you know, the hidden dark technology? You know, it's time to pull out like Yumi, and like I don't know what's a wacky pick, like Yumi Aatrox, like Yumi Alistar, you know.
Right. We'll see if they have anything else up their sleeves, or if it will be the same champions running it back, just playing the skill matchup, playing the ego, I guess, play.
Yeah, and I think we'll definitely have to see, you know, if it's going to be an in versus in matchup, or is it going to be an in versus counter matchup, because, you know, blind pick is like kind of throwing rock paper scissors, right?
Right.
It's like if you don't know what the enemy is picking, you can't really adapt to it. So a lot of it is actually decided in champ select, but, you know, like, that is part of the mind games, right? Like, knowing what your enemy is going to pick, and, you know, if you kind of think your opponent's going to throw scissors, then you throw a rock, right? You don't want to
Right.
throw paper, and that's part of it. And obviously, the other part is you got to execute it. You got to be able to throw scissors. If you want to throw scissors and you throw this, that's not scissors. You threw half.
Yeah,
of
it's just
scissors.
nothing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great mention of rock paper scissors of just trying to counter these comps that you don't know. You have to guess what the other team is going to play. It's possible that the teams also choose just a hedge and pick something that's sort of safe and doesn't really fill, I guess, counter any role, but it could be safe against multiple different comps. So, yeah, very curious to see what comes out. Like we said, the Sejuani Zaya working out 3 games for tag team name, but now this is the one where they do lose. It is still statistically in their favor to run it back, but we'll see if they decide to opt for something new instead.
Yeah, and I think Max and Evan have kind of gotten the important part out, which is cutting the momentum off of tag teams like winning streak kind of with these comfort picks. So I think they, even if they run it back, I think Max and Evan have developed the confidence to kind of they can say you have a winning streak, we cut it off, now you're in our court now.
Right, the momentum's on their side to play the matchup, and we'll see what they lock in here as they hover their champions.
Looks like
It's
the
possible
same
they
thing
can hear
again.
what we say, so I think maybe we won't mention what they hover until it is locked in, but yeah.
I can start I can throw some ciphers in here. Malzahar. Maybe it is Malzahar. Maybe it's
maybe
not.
it's Yumi, maybe it's Timo.
Timo, Annie, Anivia, Aatrox. I am going off
Just
the
naming
Vex.
champions.
Zaya. Oh, it is Zaya. I don't know. Draven. Is it Draven? I don't know. It's
There are a lot of champions in League of Legends.
there are indeed a lot of champions in League of Legends. Aurelion Sol.
Aurelion Sol, the rework. I'm unfortunately, I was hoping we'd see the new Aurelion Sol rework come out during the duo duels, but it looks like we will not. And we're running it back once again.
Right, and now that the picks are locked in, we can probably talk about it. We are running it back for the same picks.
Yeah, I feel like we might have talked this matchup to death now. We've seen it 4 times. We're going to be going to the 5th time between this matchup. Well, excuse me, not the 5th time between this matchup specifically, but with the Sejuani Zaya.
We've definitely talked this matchup to death. We've talked about it theoretically, so I think it is time to talk about this lore-wise. If Draven and Nunu are fighting Sejuani and Zaya, lore-wise, who's winning then?
Okay, so I'm familiar with Zaya's lore, sort of. I know she's a Vestea.
Right.
I think that's the right term. Those are very powerful beings.
Right.
Sejuani has a boar.
She also has some true ice.
She has true ice.
She has
Okay,
true
okay.
ice. Yeah. I kind of think Sejuani is gonna come out on top. Sejuani Zaya, because Draven is a very skilled fighter with axes and stuff, but Zaya kind of has some like Vestaean magic, right?
For sure.
And Nunu is just a child, so I think if Zaya managed to snipe off the child with a feather, I think Willem's maybe getting depression. And
Yeah, I'd
walking
have
away.
to agree. Willem is just a Yeti. Nunu is just a kid. Compared to the, I guess, more age and experience out of Sejuani and Zaya, they would have the strategic advantage as well. And yeah, like you said, Draven is just a guy.
Yeah, but we kind of have to decide on where they're fighting as well. Are they fighting in Draven's arena in Noxus? Maybe that will be some home ground advantage to them. Draven, in his comfort zone. Maybe he can like throw some axes at the Sejuani and the Zaya. While Bristle is a very strong boar, can the strong boar sustain a bunch of axes flying at you
Yeah,
from miles away?
absolutely fair. There's also a question in lore whether Bristle is tankier or Willump. Compared to, they both have to play the tank role for their ADC behind them. It's curious to see who could soak up more damage.
That is actually an interesting point. We do have 2 kind of rider champions. We have Nunu riding Willump, Sejuani riding Bristle. If Bristle fights Willump, who's winning?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not familiar enough with the lore to know, but
I'm not either.
this is maybe a more similar picks out of the 2 than we'd expect. An ADC plus a rider champion.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. That's so cool.
Yeah, they shouldn't rename Sejuani and Bristle. Why does Nunu get to be and Willump?
Right. Bristle needs more representation.
Exactly.
Like think of what's Sejuani really doing?
She swings her flail around.
Yeah, she's swinging the flailing around, but the board is carrying her around, right?
You're right.
We definitely need more Bristle representation in League of Legends. Sejuani, she throws the bolas and stuff, but Bristle's doing the hard carrying.
Yeah, honestly, it's just same as Nunu and Willump. Nunu's the one throwing the snowballs, but Willump is doing the hard carrying in the end.
That's right. What is Nunu doing? He is a child. He's saying, "Go Willump." Willump is, he can throw the snowballs, right? But Willump is literally devouring his enemies. What is Nunu really contributing to the team here? I think they really have to reevaluate, how they are being paid You know,
Maybe. In the compensation for their work. But yeah, we'll see. Fortunately for us, this is not a battle of lore, but a battle of some good old League of Legends. So as we jump into the Howling Abyss, we'll see who can take Game 3 of this Grand Final Best of 5.
and as you said, this is not lore. This is about mechanics, enhance, and strategy. This is League of Legends, so let's see who will come out on top after we jump into this game shortly.
Just a second here, we'll be loaded. And there we go. Max 7 on the red side this time.
And are there any summoner spell changes? We have Ignite on side Sejuani, Darius on side Zaya, Exhaust Nunu, and Heal Draven. Nunu.
As we all know,
What am I even going to say?
yeah, same as usual, or rolling an early snowball. This one will not connect. Marshmallow actually very greedily walking into the bush, face checking.
Yeah, and
Nunu
Philo
could have
is
been waiting there
not
without.
going to punish. I think maybe he is a little bit scared of the Zaya dashing. Sorry, not the Zaya. The Sejuani dashing forward for the punish. Draven, obviously not the highest range AD carry out there. He did opt for the lethal tempo instead of the Hail of Blades. Probably like you mentioned to kind of match Zaya in that extended trades. You know, I think it is about which tank dies faster. Is it Nunu or Sejuani? Or sorry, Willump or Bristle? We need more representation, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's going down faster in lethal tempo is going to kind of aid Draven in those extended fights. Nunu coming in with a snowball, which is kind of a very good wave clear tool. I don't know if people are aware, but Nunu snowball is actually a really good tool for clearing waves.
Yeah, Max and Evan are going to get the early shove from that, hitting level 4 a bit earlier on, but won't take advantage of it. Like you said, between the two tanks who can tank it up better, Willump actually likes to get opting always for the Guardian's Orb, so not as tanky as the Guardian's Horn from Bristle.
Right, and one more thing is that Nunu and Willump have Phase Rush instead of Aftershock. So maybe they're not looking for extended trades, they're looking for quick snowball type engages. If an engage is really good, then I think Draven will follow up. If not, you know, Nunu can just run really fast.
Run really fast with the Phase Rush, absolutely.
You know, Draven has both axes spinning, and the snowball is coming down as well.
Decides
Clear
not
the
to
wave.
commit all the way. They are undeterred after all, slowly pushing back out. Tag team name. Looks like we'll have a slower game again until an engage comes out.
Yeah, and level 5s are hit on both sides, and as we saw before, level 6, Draven with a Whirling Death actually wiped out one of the characters from tag team. Even if it looked like they got off, like, you know, they got away, you know, the Whirling Death came in, you know, like executed them as Draven's lore states, you know. So we're definitely looking for the ultimate trades here.
Yep, we'll see both teams farming it up. Max and Evan are the ones getting pushed in now. You can see there actually is a decided CS disadvantage here. There is a big wave, but it looks like the Zaya tag team name will be up 24 CS to 11 for the time being.
And the Relic not hugely relevant right now. Both teams are pretty much full health and full mana. The blue wave is being pushed into Max and Evan's side. Philo looking to maybe build up some adoration stacks, but you definitely see that Zaya's wave clear is 27 CS to 15.
Yeah, we can see the CS lead is actually getting quite hefty as Max and Evan struggle to finish off this wave, or last hit the wave under turret. It is now 29 to 17 as they finish off these last 4.
I think a significant portion of that wave actually burned.
Yeah, for sure. Snowball onto Jimmy, not doing too much damage. After those waves are finished, it's 29 CS to 20 for tag team name.
And I think Jimmy and Marshmallow are being diligent, right? They are saying that, you know, we lose if you land a big snowball, so we're not going to give you the snowball angle. And, you know, Restepping is going to continuously try to land some good engages, but, you know, as long as Marshmallow and Jimmy, they kind of know their positions and they're very diligent about it, it's going to be really hard for Restepping to kind of land a good engage.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like they're playing this well. Like you said, being diligent, being safe with it, Restepping, struggling to find a good engage.
Restepping.
Here he comes yet again. Tag team see him from a while away. Snowball lands on a Jimmy for no real damage.
You know, this is so, you know, Restepping kind of has to keep trying these. And, you know, every time I call it out, it feels kind of redundant. But, you know, we have to call it out because that is the kind of saving grace for the Nunu pick are these crazy engages with the CC and the huge damage. So
Yeah, for sure. And he's the only one looking for an engage. So Jimmy, like you said, just playing very safe, playing like a bodyguard for the Zaya, not really engaging on anything.
yeah, and I think good communication on both teams as well. You know, Restepping saying, you know, if it doesn't look good, don't go in. And Jimmy saying, you know, like, if you're going to get hit, I'm going to, like, jump in and be a bodyguard for you.
For sure. Tag team name stealing away the relic there, but Filo's still getting the heal from it. Nunu rolls in, Filo's all the way back, however.
I think I have to probably start shortening these snowball calls that come out so often. So maybe I'll say the next time I'll say Nunu. Maybe I'll say none. And I'll say New.
Just at this point, just say nothing.
Yeah.
CS lead 49-35, although there is a wave coming into Max and Evan. Halfway to that CS win condition for tag team name.
Yeah, Restepping filming a mukbang with the cannon there. Snowball comes down pretty close, almost hits Marshmallow. He is interrupted by Rolling Death comes down as well. Zaya also pops. Restepping is absolutely shredded by the turret. Jimmy flashes forward to finish off the kill, but he does not have enough range to use this Sejuani. He cannot throw the bowler like an AD carry, unfortunately. And Zaya, a nice route again, but takes a lot of damage from the Draven. Both Lethal Tempo is active on both AD carries. And in a straight-up fight without feathers, Draven is going to be beating that Zaya.
Yeah, HP advantage is going to go to Max and Evan. Barrier comes out from Marshmallow here. A flash by Philo, very respectful.
Yeah, respecting that Sejuani Q, you know, the follow-up with the E can be very dangerous for the side of Draven. Snowball coming down again. Looks like Restepping is looking for another engage, but where are Marshmallow and Gina even? They're not even on the camera. They're really respecting that Nunu pick.
Yeah, they backed up to pick up the tier 2 relic, getting shoved in now, still with a slight CS advantage as they pick up this wave. They're actually pretty healthy despite how poorly that team fight looked like it went.
Yeah, if I'm Zaya, I'm not too stressed right now. You know, I have good wave clear. I have a CS advantage. I'm not very stressed, but if I'm Restepping, I'm not very stressed either. That fight displayed the potential for Nunu and Draven's, you know, like very powerful PvP potential. But Marshmallow, I think the game is kind of on his shoulders right now because if he lands a huge Feather Storm, if he can land a huge pullback onto, you know, Draven or Nunu and kind of burst one down, that's kind of what they need.
Yeah, it's definitely what they need. In terms of the CS game, though, they can also just play it slow. They are still up 67-57.
You know, Restepping showing off his driving skills, doing 360s around the parking lot.
A donut by the Nunu, but not for any real gain. Max and Evan now being the ones shoved in.
Yeah, the relic spawn is on the side of Max and Evan, so they can go pick that up. I wonder if they're going to go pick up the wave first or the relic first. Looks like Draven is going to solo get the relic. A little bit of CS missed on the side of Max and Evan. But, you know, as for the CS, it is 61-72. So, honestly, a wave difference is pretty big.
A wave difference is huge, and I think as it gets inches closer to that 100 CS mark, Max and Evan are going to have to force something. Force a fight to try to play for the win.
Yeah, Jimmy jumps in forward with a dash, interrupted by the Draven. I forgot the ability name. The Q.
Stand aside.
Oh, and a huge engage by the Nunu and the Whirling Death combo. Nunu ult is being channeled. Jimmy, look, so lethal, and Marshmallow actually took the full brunt of that. Does he have the Feather Call? He does not. Barrier is popped, but Nunu is filming a mukbang with some KFC right now, some Vistayan chicken.
And that will be the game for Max and Evan. Tag team name maybe letting that slip a bit out of control there where they could have had the CS win condition but letting themselves get engaged on once again by that Nunu.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a little bit of complacency coming on the side of, you know, tag team there. They had a really good comfortable position, but a sudden really good read by Max and Evan to go in for the sudden knockup into the sudden Whirling Death. You know, Whirling Death people usually use that as, you know, as an execute or something to throw out after the fight. But, you know, the Whirling Death coming in right on top of that knockup shows kind of Max and Evan's coordination in that all-in.
Absolutely. Well played, stacking the damage and layering on both champions. And also that was a huge Absolute Zero Nunu ult out of Nunu, catching both of them and actually doing a huge chunk of damage.
Right, and you know, the Zaya getting caught by the Absolute Zero is actually really bad for the side of tag team. You know, you absolutely cannot afford to have both of your characters get hit by that, you know, basically fully charged Absolute Zero.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of solidified the fight. As soon as they got caught in that Absolute Zero channel, it looked like GG.
Yeah, for sure. You can see that Zaya's range disadvantage coming into effect a bit. She tried to step back to auto the Nunu while he was channeling, but she couldn't auto it from outside his range. So, like you said, taking the full brunt of that channel and doing way too much damage for them to counter back.
Right, and you know, you can't kill a Nunu once your DPS is out. You know, Nunu can, you know, like I said, film a mukbang with minions, or you sometimes, you know, and you know, that's really hard to grind down, especially there was a very scary Axeman in the background with lethal tempo activated.
Yeah, for sure. So the series will now go up to 2-1 for Max and Evan. Yeah, they'll have the upper hand now. They're actually on match point.
Are they running it back?
It'll be hard. We'll have to wait and see. It looks like.
Oh yeah, we have to. Back to champion names. Vex. Alistar.
Alistar. Yubi.
Wow, it's really hard to list some names once you're under pressure. Like I can only think of the A names. Azir.
Yeah. Okay, but now we see what the actual champion lock-ins are, and we will see a change-up.
Oh, very, very interesting. It looks like they opted for Ice Lady to a Ice Troll. So, both characters, Freljord, true ice wielding menaces.
Yeah.
And, Trundle, kind of an interesting pick. I wonder what the justification behind this is. Are they saying, if Nunu comes in, I'm going to pillar up behind him. I'm going to just eat Nunu alive before he can run away with Phase Rush? Is he saying that, Trundle can maybe hamper the Draven's ability to pick up axes with the pillar? Very, very interesting.
For sure. Yep, curious to see. It's hard. We don't know what the bans were, so we don't know if Sejuani was randomly banned this time around, or if they, because of having lost the past 2 games, are throwing a change-up. But yeah, like you said, the Trundle definitely an interesting pick. Arguably less tanky than the Sejuani, but like you said, the pillar having a lot of utility for messing with Max and Evan's team comp.
Right, and you have to remember that Trundle is very strong in a 1v1. I would have to say, like, if all the league champions came in to do a fist fight to death, Trundle would be probably in that upper echelon of the champions who are taking the dub. And I think maybe this is an answer to Nunu saying, I'm going to just eat you, while you eat me, I'm going to eat you harder. I'm going to chomp you, I'm going to throw that pillar up behind you, and I'm going to beat you out with my club.
That is true. They're trying to counter Nunu with their own bite. Hopefully trying to take advantage of that. And yeah, we'll have to see if it works out for them. This will be, as we said, it is match point for Max and Evan. So if this Trundle pick does not work out, it will be lights out for tag team name.
Yeah, and I hope the Trundle pick is something that's they've thought about. They put in some research into it. Like what counters Nunu? And it's not Sejuani apparently, because Sejuani just kind of taking the free snowballs. Sejuani, she can shrug off the snowballs, but she does not bring too much other utility. She can land the engages, but you have to remember that Nunu, while he is being the snowball guy, he's still standing in front of Draven. He is blocking the Sejuani engages. And it's really hard for a Sejuani to really get onto a Draven without, Mark.
For sure, yeah. The lack of Mark opting instead for exhaust on the Sejuani the past few games, maybe hampering his ability to go in on that Draven. As Trundle, we'll have to see what Summoner spell he opts to take, but it's possible that instead they just play it strictly front to back and try to blow up the Nunu before he gets blown up.
Yeah, and I think Pillar is definitely one of the big variables coming into this new draft, and, Max and Evan, they're saying, play whatever I'm playing before.
Yeah, they're sticking with what works. As you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we will see the Draven Nunu come out again. And having talked about it already, though, but the lethal tempo out of the Draven has been doing work for them.
Absolutely. Lethal tempo is, I think, a very, very smart kind of adaptation. It's not like they're throwing their champion completely aside. I'm going to say, I don't want to play with you anymore. You're saying, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to take lethal tempo. I'm going to play, against your strength. I'm going to bring out my strength against the tanks as well.
Exactly. Like you said, great adaptation. Instead of dropping Draven completely, just switching from the Halo Blades to the lethal tempo has made all the difference for them. And we'll have to see if this new this new counter with the Trundle is enough as we jump on a Howling Abyss in just a second.
Yeah. No biases. Go both of you. Go teams.
It'd be nice to see a Game 5 for certain if Tag Team Name can win this one out, and we'll go to a Game 5. Otherwise, we will crown our champions.
Yeah, Max and Evan, they've looked dominant all tournament, but they're really, really, looks like it's a uphill battle for them, surprisingly. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, Tag Team Name giving them some adversity, and as we get on to the Howling Abyss.
It looks like same summoner spells are taken by both teamed Ignite on the side of Trundle instead of Sejuani, but relatively the same.
Yep, like you said, Trundle, very strong 1v1 champion, especially exacerbated by that lethal tempo. He'll have a huge amount of attack speed and AD, along with his frozen domain, as restepping.
Oh no, Marshmallow looks like he was AFK, but it was actually bait by the Trundle, throws at the pillar up with Slug with Snowball, but he is absolutely getting melted by the Draven. The Draven is absolutely a menace with the lethal tempo activated. And I see the tech, I see the snowball, I see the pillar, but even with that kind of counter, I don't know if that was a really good trade for them.
Yeah, that was an excellent pillar. It looks like canceling the snowball, catching them both out. Like you said, Marshmallow playing great bait there. However, the Draven damage seems like it's too much, and Jimmy is almost half HP.
And I think one thing that I noticed is that it is good to use summoner spells early in Howling Abyss because they come back so fast. We see quarter of the summoner spell cooldown has already come down to Philo. Pillar saying, no, I hate you. Go away.
looks like this will be the name of the game, pillaring, canceling the snowballs. And like you said about the summer spells, great point that Philo burned both while Marshmallow kept both. So we'll see if Philo can wait for those to come back up and, like you said, take advantage of the early burn.
And this is kind of something I'm interested in, is how much finesse can Jimmy use the pillar with. You know, obviously you can just interrupt the Nunu snowball with the pillar, but can he get extra value out of it? Can he block the Nunu from escaping? You know, can he get some re-engagement with the Zyra? Nice root onto the Draven. Throw that to step aside, just as a little bit of a cautionary measure, but nothing too exciting gonna happen.
Yeah, like you said, finesse with the pillar definitely important. He used it there to try to stop Nunu from escaping. Probably was not up for the snowball as it did a longer cooldown. However, not getting much use out of that pillar. We'll see if his next one is more effective.
Yeah, this does remind me of the other games where there's one team kind of like knocking on the enemy, getting the relic pressure, knocking the enemy door, getting the relic pressure. But obviously we cannot discount how many comebacks have come around from teams that looking stable one moment to a huge engagement to a follow-up. Xayah looks a little bit caught up, but again, the pillar.
Denied by the pillar. It looked like Xayah was going to be hit by that one, but a well-placed pillar by Jimmy will say no to that. Both teams farming it up. Now CS fairly even.
And I kind of wonder if this is a strategy on the side of tag team. They're saying, you know, Xayah's kind of wagging her tail looking delicious for the Nunu snowball. And then, you know, maybe if re-stepping acts a little bit unwise, then maybe Jimmy will kind of raise the pillar up behind him.
Yeah, for sure. Pillar used there once again and cancel the snowball. Looked like there was no real threat anyways. That's a long cooldown now for Jimmy as re-stepping probably waits for his cooldown for another snowball.
And one interesting thing to note here is that Draven has more CS than Xayah. It was the other way around the last game. Nunu snowball coming back. Is pillar going to go up? Oh, it's land on the Xayah. Whirling Death goes down as well. Huge trade. Looks like re-stepping. Is he going to channel the Blizzard? The pillar does not interrupt the absolute skill. Exhaust is used as well. Xayah looking for a nice re-engage with the feathers, but I think there's a little bit of an oopsie with the pillar. I think he intends to use it to cancel the ultimate.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, places it a bit too far to the side or possibly a bit too early. Jimmy will go down super low for that. They're lucky to survive.
Yeah, but Marshmallow played that well as well. He stayed calm. He casted the feathers back to himself. The snowball coming down. Pillar says no one more time. I guess that's kind of the ideal outcome for Trundle. In that little bit of skirmish there, but in the last fight, the absolute zero going out was a little bit of a disaster for the side of tag team.
Yeah, gonna have to agree with you. Like you said, though, well played by Marshmallow. Still has both sums and still has that ultimate. So he has all the tools he needs to try to carry a fight. Jimmy slowly regenerating back up from that passive.
Pillar's gonna go up.
But before that fight started, like you said, CS advantage actually to the side of Max and Evan for once. I think Marshmallow's struggling to CS without a Sejuani the frontline for him.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Nunu is abusing Xayah with the range of her snowballs, which is kind of funny to see. Feathers are called back, so a lot of setup right here for the snowball, so I think Nunu feels safe that he can go for another engage.
Yep, for sure. Tank team in push under turret now. Restepping takes control of the bush.
Yeah, and Philo with a Draven does a lot of damage to the side of Trundle. He does not have Aftershock. You'll notice Trundle actually has lethal tempo, so it's not really like a tank pick on the side of tag team. It's something like, I think it's a justification I'm going to beat up your Nunu after I cancel your ultimate with cover. Yeah,
for sure. Definitely, I would assume the justification there, but not seeing too much use out of it here. He's usually trying to run away and stay alive and not getting that chance to throw out autos.
Yeah, Nunu snowball coming back down. The pillar is casted, but not in front of the snowball, so the snowball is, rolling lazily into the side of the enemy team there.
Yeah, I feel like the pillar usage here is not fantastic. Letting those, using it on these snowballs are not a real threat, and letting that go on cooldown before it can be used more effectively.
Yeah, and it looks like, we said this before, but Philo and Max and Evan looking for the comfortable, maybe the CS, pushing the CS lead and CS advantage. Looking to close the game one where another snowball landed on the Xayah.
Jimmy not canceling that one. Good damage on a Marshmallow for sure.
Yeah, and did Philo just cast Whirling Death?
Looked like Philo casted Whirling Death backwards. Saw it coming back to him. That could have been some good chunk damage on the Xayah, but unfortunately will not be the case.
Yeah, and Philo and Philo on the Draven, like a rare Philo L. He's been looking very, very strong this whole tournament. So I'm sure that Whirling Death is nothing. It's going to come back. It's already a quarter of the way cooled down. So not the biggest deal, but these autos onto the Xayah hurt so much. Draven with the axes are really, really lethal.
Yeah, notably Marshmallow trying to auto trade Draven. It's not going to work out well for him.
Marshmallow walking forward into the...
Jimmy standing behind Marshmallow, not trying to frontline for him at all. Marshmallow going to go down. to Philo.
I wonder if that was a tactical death. Is this Marshmallow saying that, you know, this death isn't, you know, this death is, I'm going to die for the, I'm going to die for Rita, but Draven, that is definitely a tactical death. We noticed that Draven cashed in his adoration stacks before he died. What is he going to come back with?
Yeah, like you said, possibly a tactical death from Marshmallow to get a buy, but Draven's going to get an even bigger buy due to that cash out and having more CS. We can see Xayah actually gets a Kraken Slayer. Draven will get an Eclipse.
And, you know, in these really short skirmishes, Eclipse is definitely the buy. Kraken Slayer, obviously, a very strong item, you know, over extended skirmishes and team fights. But Eclipse with the quick damage boost and the shield will be very beneficial for the side of Max and Evan on the short trade.
Yeah, for sure. And he's also going to have to throw in a Berserker Greaves as well, adding to that short trade advantage, but also for the elongated trades, adding in some attack speed. Up to 75 CS from Max and Evan against tag team names only 61.
Snowball, snowball, snowball. Oh, where's the pillar going? The pillar.
Pillar goes backwards. Not that it would have had any real effect anyways, it feels like. Max and Evan getting shoved in now.
Yeah, looks like
However,
Jimmy being
79 CS.
Jimmy being a good sport and setting up a little bowling pin for the snowball to roll into, you know. Very considerate. For,
Very
the
considerate, yeah. Maybe trying to throw re-stepping off his game.
And very, very important to note, we need more CS on the side of Draven.
Yes, 2 more ways per.
And this is kind of their response to that. Both Ultimates Arc passes like Jimmy and Marshmallow are going to force an engage, but into a Nunu and Draven, that's really, really difficult. Draven with the Eclipse is so good in these short trades. Does Marshmallow have barely alive? Draven flashes forward and secures the kill. Jimmy is also going to be wiped out, looks like, and it's already GG, but add insult to injury, Draven's going to pick up the kill.
Yeah, we can see that item advantage really coming into play. Like you said, that Eclipse on that short trade, those auto attacks just absolutely out trading Xayah. I gotta say, a smart tactical death by Draven there.
Yeah, and Xayah, you know, like we said before, if a fight really ramps up, then Xayah with the Kraken Slayer can melt down those tanks, can melt down everyone on the enemy team. But Draven is no slacker as well when it comes to that. He has lethal tempo as well. And when he's throwing those axes, you know, a Kraken Slayer, like, he's matching the Kraken Slayer true damage with his auto attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with that, Max and Evan will be crowned champions, taking this final best of 5, 3 games to 1. All 3 wins on the Draven and Nunu.
Yeah, you know, Max and Evan, you know, it kind of looks like in the middle of the, you know, in the middle of the tournament, like in the final games, they kind of were flipping up. You know, tag team looks like they found an answer with the Xayah and Sejuani combo. But, you know, Max and Evan obviously not slackers themselves. They find the meta, they adapt, improvise, adapt, overcome, and, you know, they find their own response to the response. Absolutely essential in a tournament like this.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, a tournament like this, that is that winner's bracket advantage. They lost that first series against tag team name, but since they're coming from the winner's bracket, they get to play another one, adapt to the answer that tag team name had, improvising, adapting, overcoming, and taking the win at the duoduels Esports duo duels.
And yeah, at the end of the day, Max and Evan taking the best homies, you know, the best duo homies, I guess, award for this tournament. So congratulations to them. They had a very strong showing. I never doubted them.
Never doubted them for 1 second. Strong showing all the way through, and yeah, I think that's it from us today.
Yeah, and again, congratulations to Max and Evan, and congratulations to all the other teams.
Woo! Yeah, tag team name still coming with a solid second place. Strong showing from them, coming from the loser bracket, and respect to them.
Yeah, I had a lot of interesting, you know, like I had a lot of fun, you know, got to see a lot of interesting metas, a lot of interesting 2v2s. My one regret is I didn't see that Zed Evelyn game. I have no idea what happened there.
That will forever remain a mystery.
You know, how did they pull it off?
Yeah, how did they pull it off? However, it happened. It seemed like Evelyn may have been banned for future games. They did not get to pull it out again. But yeah, in the end, Max and Evan still win it out.
Yeah, and again, big round of applause from us to all the teams. Yeah.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. We appreciate all the viewers here today, and yeah, hope you'll join us for the next event.
Yeah, and if you're tuning in today, please be sure to catch us next month when we have our biggest U Waterloo event, the Golden Goose Tournament. We're going to be running Valorant and League of Legends for that, so please put your eyeballs on that. You know, put that on your calendar, mark that down, so you can see us again, hopefully.
Thank you so much. Signing out.
Bye, everyone.